Hello, and welcome to the next episode of the Best of Nothing podcast. Today it's just me, Sir Chandarius, and.
Your boy Red, what's up, you beautiful bitches?
Hmm. Well, it's gonna be just you and me for the rest of the night because everyone else is busy, so I guess we're free to talk about Pokemon, and no one gives a shit about it.
Yep, we can talk about Pokemon, some fuck shit. That does remind me, I owe you a chit that says I'm legally allergic to that fuck shit. Alright?
Very funny.
Anyhow, so you've been telling me you've been putting together a team to come at me with. How's that coming along?
That, um. I have realized the team has had some mistakes in making
De-
it, but we're getting there.
define mistakes.
Well, you see, that Crobat you gave me? The nice one?
Yeah, what about it?
Yeah, I thought it hit like a truck, and then all of a sudden it didn't hit like a truck anymore, and I don't know what happened.
Well, like I said, that Crobat I sent you, it was primarily meant to remove stage hazards, something that's very common in the competitive scene.
Yes.
Especially with speed control being such a huge thing, such as sticky web, having something as fast as a Crobat to remove that. That's why he's more bulky. He still hits, don't get me wrong. And if you have him do Brave Bird, he'll still hit like a truck. It's just
Yeah, I
there's a
don't
reason
like I don't,
why.
I don't like the recoil though.
Exactly. That's why if you honestly want to change it up a bit, here's two things you can go about it. You can either A, give him something like a black sludge, since he has roost, give him air slash, and still maintain obviously his signature move to remove the stage hazards. So that way he can stay alive. He'll heal from the black sludge since he is a poison type. Or here's another thing you can do:
So give him Black Sludge as an item.
either that or give him a King's Rock, so you increase your chances of flinching to one out of, I believe, with a King's Rock and Air Slash's innate chance of flinching. It increases it to he'll flinch one out of every two times. And
Damn.
since he's so fucking fast, he's likely to outspeed majority of what you'll encounter unless they have speed control, which again, that's his job as it is.
Yeah. So the team that I'm setting up against you is kind of a themed team.
Oh, I love theme teams.
It's themed after all the gym leaders from Gen 1.
Oh,
So I've got a Steelix to represent Brock. I've got a Starmie. Is it Starmie or Staryu? That's second level evolution.
Starmie.
I got Starmie first to represent Misty and so on and so forth. And I will have a Persian to represent Team Rocket. I'll add team as I see fit. But yeah, basically to represent Gen 1.
Yeah, Giovanni.
Yeah. But I'm deciding, it's like, do I want to represent just Gen 1 in general, or do I want to represent the gym leaders?
If it were my opinion, my guy, for Giovanni, because mind you, he's specifically the ground gym leader. If
Yeah, I
it
know.
were me, I would actually use a Cantonia and Doug trio.
God, I remember playing yellow version and
He'd
catching it.
high damage, just the one caveat being low HP.
Yeah,
However, hmm?
yeah.
What about
But as a sorry, I was trying to say, I remember playing yellow version, and then I caught a Diglett and it evolved into a Dugtrio, right? And then I
yeah?
remember just one day, all of a sudden, realizing, holy shit, this thing hits like a monster truck.
Oh
Because
yes.
it learned dig, it learned fucking like earthquake, it learned rock slide, and I'm just like, dude, fucking hell, this thing's unstoppable.
Especially back in Gen 1, Dig dealt as much damage as Earthquake. That shit's frightening.
I used to put that shit on my Squirtle.
Yeah, like for context, Doug Trio has a base stat of 120 speed and 100 attack. Sure, the rest of his stats are kind of shit, but as a sweeper, those are the only two stats you give a rat's ass about is speed
Yeah.
and damage.
The only problem is that I realized as I was building this team, oh yeah, I'm going up against you. So maybe I should Everstone and get like a Onyx up to, but that still doesn't fix the thing.
If it were me, if it, I
Because
cannot stress
I
this
know
enough.
you have fucking fire types, and all of them are coming at me at the speed of, oh wait, what was that? Oh wait, my Pokemon's dead. That's what speed it is.
You're right. However, I cannot stress this enough. If you've the one typing I would argue is the most important typing to add in a team outside of the good fire, water, grass trio is steel. Steel is such a phenomenal typing, especially defensively.
I know, like steel's great, but
So
the problem is I know you have more than just one fire type on your team.
just be grateful Infernape didn't make the cut. If you thought Blaziken
Wait,
was bad,
Infernape never made the cut?
no, he didn't make the cut into to Sword and Shield.
Oh,
That's mostly
I thought you
because
meant into your team. I'm like, Christ.
oh hell no, you can don't get me wrong, Blaziken hits like a truck, but you've never felt if you thought Blaziken hit you hard, imagine an Infernape with Iron Fist and a Choice Band, mine and including fighting type stab close combat. I have yet to
God.
have encountered anything that he can't one shot.
Why is it that every time I feel like I'm improving, the gap gets wider?
Well, like I said, bear in mind, I've been playing Pokemon for as long as I can read, and I've been in
Yeah.
the competitive scene for a long time. Hell, when I make money off something, I'm very passionate about it, and I learn to push myself to the utmost limits. However, I'm not gonna lie, hearing the Starmie pick, kind of liking it. Not gonna lie a single bit.
It's just I'm trying to branch out from my teams that I'm like, I'm comfortable with, and it's just like, or my legendaries I really like to because, they have a connection. I'm trying to think I have to build a team, so I just decided I'm gonna build a team based on the first gen gym leaders, and I'm gonna take like one of each of their Pokemon, and I'm gonna build it up from there. The only problem is that not every single Pokemon from Gen 1 is in, so I'm my picks are a bit
The-
um
A bit raunchy.
to say the least.
Well, here's some advice I would already like right off the bat drop down. Steelix, I dig the pick. It's just pray to God he doesn't get hit by a special attacker because Steelix has a base 200 defense.
Yeah,
Anything
no
that's
fucking no fucking shit, Red.
but you so much as hit him with a fucking ember, he crumbles. All right.
Yeah.
However, the Starmie pick really good. That'll wall off some of my Mons completely because it's got good defensive stats, great speed, and good special. Another
I
Mon,
always loved Staryu and Starmie just because of the noises they made in like the anime. They were so cool.
another Mon I would recommend for a gym leader, Blaine's Arcanine. Arcanine cannot be underestimated. Like
Arcanine's a problem, and I've grabbed a Hitmonlee for the fighting gym.
oh, the dojo.
Yeah.
I like him on Lee.
Well, I
I
mean,
can act.
I know it's not a gym, but you still go through there and you know.
Oh, more or less. Another mon, Alakazam. Holy sweet mother of God.
Yeah, Abras are in yeah.
Yeah, they're in there. They were part of the.
Gengar for the Ghost Gym because why the fuck not?
There's not a ghost room. There's actually a Ghost Elite Four member.
Well,
There's rock, water,
was
electric, grass, fire, ground. Let's see here because the Ghost Gym's in Gen 2. Let's see here. There's also
Oh
so
God, you're right.
that's six. I'm trying to remember the last two. There's also poison and psychic.
God,
And
you're actually fuck me, dude. I forgot.
I got you, but don't worry. Alakazam performs the exact same task as a Gengar. That's why you only need one or the other. It's never
Yeah.
really. I'm not necessarily against the idea of having both, but honestly, their weaknesses are almost identical as well as their strengths.
I don't know why the fuck I'm telling you about my team now that you're gonna counter build.
I'm not going to counter build.
Okay.
If I was to counter build, then honestly, if you thought the gap was wide already,
Like
you're gonna hate.
that's the thing though. Like the whole reason for me helping you with this stuff is so you can test all of your things because like you need someone to. But the thing is, like I'm not that high skilled or high leveled enough to know like complex play. So I'm trying to get there so you can have someone to test out your shit on. And I'm learning. I'm trying my best to learn. I always said I would never learn because I'd never liked the competitive scene because it kind of takes part of what makes Pokemon special out of Pokemon. It just
But the
that was just always my personal opinion. The reason I think like that is because, well, I've talked to you about this, but I don't
yeah,
think I talked about it a little bit on the last podcast, I think. But it's like when I play Pokemon And like when I'm talking about like, when I was really young and I played Pokemon, and some of the newer Pokemon games came out, and I was like, looking, I would find a new Pokemon, I go, oh wow, that's a cool looking Pokemon. I wonder what he evolves into, and I would catch it, and then raising that Pokemon, seeing the evolutions, getting through gyms, that's kind of like the journey. What is what makes it so special? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But when it comes to competitive scenes, and it's like, all right, math, 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 math. Okay, I have to do this, do this. All right, the EVs need to be this way. This Pokemon has a shit ability or a shit temperament, so fucking throw it in the trash can. It's like I never liked that idea because it's just like it's just so. What's the word?
I don't really have the word either, but that's one thing I really like about the current generation with the competitive is you can seriously do an entire playthrough of your Mons, and it's actually very easy to turn them into competitive. They could have the
Yeah,
shittiest natures, the worst IVs, and God, their EVs could be all over the place. But there's ways you can make it so they get exactly what you want them to have without having to go out and breed or catch,
yeah,
better
and
ones.
and I'm okay with that, which is why I guess I'm finally getting into the competitive scene. But that was what was keeping me out for so long, just because like, well, people didn't care about their Pokemon. People only cared about what their Pokemon could do. It's like,
Oh yeah, and that's understandable. I mean, hell, the fucking Blastoise that you fought against a few times, that motherfucker's from Gen 3, my guy. So
wow,
I've got some Mons that I've kept with me for quite a while.
yeah.
One of my Infernape's I've had for the longest time from Gen 4, and
You know,
my Umbreon from Gen 2.
good old Sasha, my beautiful shiny my Tiana. She's gone through everything from she's gone from like original Emerald all the way to Sun to she's gone all the way from Emerald to Moon. And I'm talking about original Emerald.
Yeah, and that's one thing I'm excited for is I have my Lord Chuggy.
Oh
That bitch
god.
better be, believe me, if you want to see a meme Mon, that fucker's as meme as it comes. And I cannot wait to bring his ass in. Although I will give you advice, I am going to tell you this much. I am going to be making a slight alteration to my team, so you have an idea of what to deal with. I'm swapping out one of my Mons, to throw in a Garchomp.
Oh fucking
Oh, it's going to be
there's
nasty.
no like original Kanto gym leaders that have any fairy typings.
Well, let me think about. Unfortunately, you're right. In Johto, you'd have access to Clefable.
Yeah, I would, wouldn't I? But it's Kanto, not Johto.
So, like I said, that's why I'm saying some really good Kantomons I would keep an eye out for is like Steelix or fucking Steelix, Arcanine, Starmie. Like that's a pretty decent core.
Like I've gotten those three. The problem is that like I've been vexed upon like what else to take. I know I can pick up an Alakazam, but it's like fuck.
Another great mon, Venusaur. Like I said, one of my go-to Venusaur sets.
Did the grass gym leader have a Venusaur?
No, but if you want to use a caveat, Vileplume. Vileplume will perform just as fine. Um, but
Oh,
if
Plume
you're
would
gonna,
work.
yeah, because like I said, Vileplume can still perform the exact same tasks that I've had my Venusaur perform, which is basically put them to sleep, give them leech. Actually, let me double check that before I start spouting that shit off. But basically, I don't. Have I ever told you what my Venusaur set is that basically single-handedly won me many fights?
You have not.
Okay. Just gonna quickly look at this to make sure before I fuck this up. All right. So basically, the way that my Venusaur was is it knew basically only grass type moves, which usually is a terrible idea. But here's the change: it would have on it an assault vest, which makes it so, or not an assault vest. Sorry. What I would do is I'd give it leftovers,
Okay.
and then I only EV'd its defensive stats. That's it. I made it as bulky as
Oh.
heavenly possible. It knew Leech Seed, Giga Train, Sleep Powder, and
Oh,
Photosynthesis.
I see what you're fucking doing.
It's a drain tank. And pair
Fucking
that with its ability Thick Fat, at least back when it had it, it could not be stopped. You had to hit this thing with a strong hitting psychic type move. And since it was so
oh
bulky,
my
especially
god.
back when it could Mega, The only thing that's ever really put its ass down was an Omni boosted Psycho Boost Victini. That is the only thing that's ever KO'd it. Other than that,
Psycho
it's
boost.
survived everything. But that's the craziest thing is that, you can make some mons that usually aren't that good into some terrible fucking monsters. And the funniest thing is most people set him up to be more of a special attacking sweeper or even a
That's
physical
that's what
attacker.
that's what Ivysaur is like. Pokemon challenges when he was doing that ridiculously super hard version of Yellow, and he picked Ivysaur for a starter. Like he had that specifically for Well, no, I don't think it was. I forget what it was he was playing, but he picked Ivysaur as a starter mainly because Misty was such a fucking problem.
Oh yeah, and I mean the cool thing about Venusaur now because I'm planning on updating my stats on him, but he's got base 80 and basically everything except his special attack and special defense are base 100, and he's got the chlorophyll hidden ability, which if it's sunny out, his speed doubles, which honestly makes him faster than fuck.
Christ.
And like, don't get me wrong, Charizard honestly isn't that bad, but if you compared him to his Blastoise and Venusaur brothers, he just doesn't keep up. You actually have to build him up, especially since Blastoise now has access to Shell Smash. Pair that with a White Herb, you now have yourself a times two speed, special attack, and regular attack, and no caveat for Blastoise. And hey, who's gonna say no to that shit? You got Venusaur who can soak up damn near anything, especially since physical moves usually aren't going to do that much except for an earthquake. And for special, he's got base 100 with a base 80 HP. He's a bulky bitch. Charizard's just glass cannon and stealth rock exists. So there goes a quarter of his HP just sending him out
Can I
on a layer of
can
stealth
I
rock.
just say why I don't like Stealth Rock?
Sure, I'm actually curious why, because there's a lot worse. Like stealth rock, in my opinion, is not the worst. In fact, I would
The
argue it's one of
reason
the
the reason
worst.
I hate Stealth Rock so much is because it's such it's just such an like it's such a I'm taking this way too seriously move. You know what I mean?
Oh, if you think that's the case, oh,
Like
buddy.
I know substitution and like I was on Pokemon Showdown in high school and I saw some bullshit back in the day with like a Zoroark using substitute and like other shit so it could infinitely just be an what's the word that I could just infinitely be just untouchable and I'm like this is fucking stupid.
Oh, just you wait.
But
What
the
if I
reason
don't?
reason why Stealth Rock is like because it's the most well known and just like you see it go out and it's like okay this is okay like fucking Milo in fucking Sword and Shield used it and I just about lost my shit because I'm just like no fucking way did he just use Stealth Rock on me.
Oh yeah. If you think that's bad, you would absolutely
Oh god sakes.
All right. You got spikes that you can layer because at least with stealth rock, you just send out a steel rock or ground type. It's not going to do very much.
You
Like
want
that's seriously.
you might want to restart you cut out there.
Oh, if you think he's bad, wait till you see Ferrothorn. One of my favorite Ferrothorn sets is to run both spikes and, if I remember correctly, toxic spikes. Pair that with goddamn leech seed and toxic. That bitch ain't going anywhere.
Why why does such things exist?
Oh, scratch that, not toxic spikes. Stealth rock and spikes. So in other words, fuck your flying types. Fuck everything that touches
That's
the
another
ground.
thing. It's like, why does Stealth Rock affect flying types? That makes no sense.
Oh, simple. It's rock, not ground. If it
No,
was a
it's still like they still fly though. So it's like, what do the rocks jump up and hit the Pokemon?
no, actually. So the way how the move actually works is the rocks are floating in the air. And so your flying that's why your flying types get nailed by them. They're basically invisible rocks that just rotate
Are
in
you
the air.
fucking kidding me? That's the reason.
That's actually how stealth rock works. They don't go on the ground. They're in midair. That's why flying types get hit the hardest.
Oh my god.
Like spikes, flying types don't give a shit. Same with toxic spikes. Hell, an easy way to remove toxic
Ah,
spikes.
Christ, give me a minute here. Yeah. Oh, this podcast is going to hell. Ah, fuck.
It is called the best of nothing. What do you
It's called,
expect?
yeah, it is called the best of
Anyway,
nothing.
what was I saying? Oh yeah, but here's an easy way to remove toxic spikes actually, because if they put down 2 layers, they basically just applied toxic to everyone, so it's badly poisoned. All you have to do is send out a poison type. They absorb the spikes. But hands down, in my opinion, the worst hazard to deal with in the game is sticky web. Halves your entire team's speed stat.
God sakes.
So they,
And you wonder why I stayed out of the competitive scene.
but that's the thing is everything has a way to counteract that. Hell, if you want to play that game, because here's another thing you can use, Mr. Mime. Assuming I got that correct, but if I recall correctly, Mr. Mime has access to an ability called what is it? Think mirror something. It's a hidden ability. Let me pull it up so I'm not just talking out my ass. Uh, he actually does not. That's actually weird since he's the barrier Pokemon. I'll pull up. What is it? Galarian Mr. Mime has access to it. No, he actually doesn't. Jesus Christ. I know Espeon does.
You
Like,
ever wonder why people are afraid of clowns?
simple, really. They're the way that clowns are is a lot of people don't like. I wouldn't say confrontation, but clowns are usually in your face. Not to mention, like seeing a clown, it's unnatural. It's so weird to look at a fucking clown with its forced happy smile, and they're meant to be goofy as shit. Like honestly, if you just got a god,
That's my thing though. They're goofy as shit, and I don't understand like when people have like the murder clown and he's like all chainsaw and everything. It's like why? Like
because of the smile and the makeup, that's why,
no,
as well as the goofy outfit.
you don't get it. It's like so you're a murder hobo, right? But why are you dressed up as a clown? Like I feel like that's just like it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't pair up with it. You know what I mean?
That's exactly
I
the
guess that's why
reason
people
why.
find it scary. But it's like
Basically, with how humans are, is if it's unnatural or it's something we're not used to, we resort to fear almost automatically. So when you see something that's supposed to be happy, joyful, goofy, and it's actually doing terrifying actions, that just makes it even worse because it's unnatural. That's why humans are traditionally scared of clowns, or at least, it's a common fear of people. It's the same reason why, like spiders, they're 8 fucking legs. They got poison. They look
you
weird
don't
as
have
shit.
room to talk about spiders.
Why do
Spiders
you
are
think I pulled that as an example? I'm listing why I'm scared of them, so you have an understanding.
yeah.
Is it's unnatural. Same with being lonely. It's unnatural for a human to be lonely. If you honestly break it down, anything that's unnatural, it's a common fear. Ghosts, another thing. The dark, another common thing, since humans have grown to work during the day most of the time, or we
Yeah.
have light to work with. We can't see in the dark. It's unnatural. We can't see. We're freaking out.
I still say though that clowns are just a bit like people are like a bit much. But my biggest thing is like why the fuck is I get Pennywise is like some kind of crazy ass like invulnerable spirit or some shit like that. But he's just a clown.
And I couldn't agree more. But yeah, that's just the weirdest thing. It's just
People go and like clowns are scary. It's just like is it Halloween right now? No.
and,
It's
and
just
there's
a fucking clown. It's doing he is doing a silly dance, acting like a jackwagon, and it's funny.
and you also get the type of people that that are scared of people being in their personal space. And what do clowns normally do? They get in your fucking face.
It's just a comedy routine.
Exactly. But like I said, everyone has at least one irrational fear. Everyone has that one fear that others would, think, oh, that's kind of pathetic. But to them, and not to mention, it could just be some psychological thing. Like maybe their parents took them to a clown when they were younger, and as a baby or as a child, really young one, and they didn't know how to handle it, so they freaked out. And since then, they've had that negative emotion to it.
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
Yeah, like the brain is such a piece of shit.
Still,
It will hang on to any
the
traumatic
the thing
experience.
is for me, it's just like if you have a fear of clowns, it's like kind of dumb to have that fear because you can take one look at a clown and tell whether it's a quote unquote murder clown or just a circus clown. You know what I mean?
And you're absolutely right.
Because
Honestly, it's not so much. It's just the clown makeup. I think is what throws people off. Mix that with past traumatic experiences. That's usually what throws people off on it. To be honest, like look at jesters. No one ever had a fear of jesters because they don't wear makeup. They wear the same fucking uniform, but they don't wear the makeup, and no one's scared of them. They
I,
do the same shit.
I just got the silly hat.
The silly hat, silly shoes, silly clothing. They do the same shit. The same goofy routine. But just because they're not wearing the makeup is why no one's scared of a jester.
Yeah, but you want to know what type of clown nobody's scared of?
Hmm.
Rodeo clowns.
Okay, to be fair though, they got some balls.
You have to.
Yeah, you're staring down an angry ass bull.
Coolest thing I ever saw was a rodeo clown like basically like I think it was like 4 or 6 rodeo clowns get like a bull off of like off of somebody that was about to get gored.
It does make me laugh because a lot of people believe that bulls can see like only the color red, but that's
Yeah,
actually
that's okay. Yeah. That's a big misconception. It's not the color red that gets them mad. It's the movement of the cape that gets them all mad. You know what I mean?
the
Which is
only
is the
reason.
funniest part because just like everyone's like, oh, bull see red, bull anger. It's like no, bull see movement, bull charge.
Exactly. The only reason why they traditionally use red colors is so the audience can see what the matador is doing. That's the
Yeah,
only fucking reason. Plus, I mean, think about it. Red is the easiest color for people to see. Why
yeah,
do you think most commonly red vehicles are the ones with the most speeding tickets on average? Because they stick out in the open.
makes sense. At the same time, though, it's like when it comes to modern bullfighting and they don't kill the bulls anymore. It's more of a show of acrobatics and showing how much you can style beast on a bull. You know what I mean? Get that triple S rank from fucking taunting and riding high on the just riding high off a bull.
Bro, speaking of
Savage.
triple S rank, I am beyond excited for the next run of Fantasy Zone. Oh my god.
I thought you were about to say the Virgil DLC.
I want to play it, don't get me wrong, but right
I
now your
am the
boy.
storm that is approaching.
But don't get me wrong, I'm so excited for the Virgil DLC. I'm just on that Destiny 2 grind, catching up with my clanmates.
Yeah,
Although
I've gotten back into Monster Hunter, and I'm currently setting up a team for the Fatalis.
oh yeah, although I didn't know this until yesterday, but I found out that Destiny 2 actually has like Elo like in League of Legends. And
Oh
in one
no!
of the PvP playlists, I'm actually in the top 15%.
Oh God's sakes!
And that's with me like first week using a mouse and a keyboard, looking like a toddler, just learning how to walk for the first time. Finally saying, fuck it, we're going to controller. And then next, boom, skyrocket. Albeit, I do use kind of a close range busted weapon being the last word, but your boy only clicks heads. So, but yeah, that's what I'm excited for is to go back in that campaign,
Uh,
especially with this group. Like I love playing with Snow, Cletus,
Snow
and
is
it's
thinking about not being in FC3.
really why?
He says he's gonna need time to think about it, and granted, it's gonna be a while before we actually go
Oh, it's
ahead
gonna be
with
a hot minute.
FC3. But I don't know what it is about him, but I think he's just like he's not like up for a campaign where it's a fuck around and find out, which is generally what FC3 is. Cletus is all for it, like obviously, but I don't know.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie, this is so far my favorite batch of players, and I did convince my brother that once we do Fantasy Zone 3, he'll be all bored with it. Um, it's just like I said, the one thing that kind of turned him away from D&D to begin with is just our long ass sessions and doing basically every night. He felt
Well,
like it.
it was the beginning of the COVID outbreak. We all literally had nothing to do.
Oh yeah. And that's just the thing is my
Like
brother
the
likes
only
that.
reason we did D&D every day is because we all had nothing to do. We were stuck inside because of COVID.
Oh yeah, and that's entirely fair. And albeit my brother does like he enjoys it. It's just he also enjoys playing other video games like by himself. That's why he loves playing the PS4. He
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
have
I
anyone
mean
that plays it with him.
it's fine to drop in and drop out, you know what I mean? Like, just so long as you're like, if you know the session's going on for 6 hours and you only want to stick around for three and play something else, that's fine. Just don't drop out while you're in the middle of combat. That's generally the only rule we have.
Don't forget the alcohol one.
Yep.
But that's the thing is just he feels like whenever like he's not there, he's missing out. And so he's stuck in a point where like I don't want to miss out on
Well,
that, but I also want to do this.
you don't miss out on too much. I mean, there's an obvious point each session where it's like it's dialing down and we're just doing character interactions, especially with FC3 because FC3 is is a partial dating and life sim because you wanna like the reason I allow that in FC3 and not in any other campaign is because I feel like relationships are cool and dating sims are cool and life sims are cool, but at the same time, you don't want that to take up all of D&D. That's why the end of every session is sort of just like get your character interactions out of the way. Talk to the characters you like. Do what you're gonna do. But the main the main brunt, the main substance of the session is gonna be mainly what we're doing, what current arc we're in, how are we gonna have fun tonight? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and I mean that's part of the reason why I didn't bring Lapis into this campaign for the first time
Yeah. Well,
because I'm like,
the thing is, it's like okay, you're gonna bring a little girl into the campaign because slimes do not exist in the Wild West.
exactly. So, and I'm actually excited to go a different route in the next one.
Well,
I'm not gonna say what
actually,
I'm gonna do.
With FC3, I've actually gone back to the roots of FC1 with how FC1 started out, and actually combined it with this new idea. Basically, I'm not sure if I should be spoiling this, but you have a shit memory anyway, so I might as well.
All right, let's go for it.
So basically, FC1, when I initially started running this campaign, um, basically you wouldn't start out in the Gilded City like you usually would. That whole idea of you starting out in the Gilded City and have a sign will work or adventure for food, that came from watching. I think his name is Matt My Burritos. I think his video is called the Guild Busters or Guild Breakers,
Hmm.
and basically that idea like kind of is what started that whole thing where you start out in a tin shit house and you have a sign that's like will work for food and if you remember, actually you weren't there, but if you were there for FC2, but that first
Yeah.
encounter isn't actually the original first encounter. That's actually from his animation where where you're trying to get the cat down from the tree and the tree's a
Oh my
monster.
god, I actually saw that video. I know what you're talking about. I didn't think about that. I'm like, where? I know I've heard this from somewhere, but now that I think about it, I've seen the animation. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
seen that before.
which is which I had that because I'm like, this is literally the greatest. I want this in my campaign. You know what I mean? Because it's such a funny concept. It's just like we're getting paid for a quest. Okay, what's the quest? We get a cat down from a tree.
Yeah, like honestly, I'm not like outside of this group. I think my other favorite group was the first of Fantasy Zone that run where we had me, Nikki, Boom, and other than Delta, I honestly loved playing with everyone. Hell,
Yeah,
I missed playing with Raven. He was a good lad.
We don't know what happened to Raven. He just disappeared one day.
He left all the Discord servers. He unfriended everyone. Like I don't know where that kid's at.
It's like it's so like I've tried to track him down once or twice, but I've come up with nothing.
Like if I were to, I know I have messages with him still, so I can track him see where the last time he was.
Yeah,
But it's just such a pain in the ass to locate him.
yeah.
Although worst case scenario, I know that while Snow may not join on this go round, um, my I have some IRL friends who would love to go at it
Let's just hope
with
this isn't
this go.
another well, not to say like not to like say Scarp was a bad player. Scarp was a fine player. It's just that homebrew wasn't his thing. His thing is his thing he found out was traditional D&D, and that's fine. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, everyone's more than okay to, like certain things
Yeah.
more than the other. And so, that's why I don't
Yeah,
ever
I'm
hold
not
anything against anyone that
yeah,
goes at it.
I don't hold anything against anyone from what happened. It's just that, like Scarp's thing is more traditional D&D. When he tried out traditional D&D, he found that he liked it more than homebrews. And that's fine. I mean, you do you, you know what I mean?
And that's why I don't
I
ever
still
like
I still say the funniest thing he ever fucking did was it was kill your brother on purpose.
um what was it?
He
But
was he
yeah,
was
don't
he was
worry.
stuck he was stuck in the he was stuck in the railway cannon, and you had to basically like do some checks to get him out of there, but Scarp just decided to do a strength check and rip him in half.
Yeah, although that did lead to a very funny moment. Oh my god, that shit was
Yeah,
hilarious.
it was hilarious, but it's not him ripping it in half that was funny. It was Scarp going, "Okay, how do we revive him? What do you mean revive him? I told you he's dead.
You tore his a
You
you tore him a new asshole,
you tore
bitch.
him literally in half. He's dead. What do you mean pick him back up?" Oh
Yeah,
god.
don't worry. Both these guys are new. They're really good lads, and they're very new players. However, they've been wanting to get into D&D. It's just they don't want to ask any of their IRL friends to do it because they feel like they're going to get more or less heavily judged. And me and my brother have told them about your campaigns, and that's why they're excited to get on board and they want to try it.
Yeah.
The only thing that's gonna be difficult is one of them just recently got a girlfriend, so that's obviously gonna
Ah, I see.
put some caveat on that. And the other one works nights.
I see.
So that's where it's going to be a little difficult to get them on. However, that's still two extra players that'll be willing to learn and understand how this shit works.
Yeah.
And I mean, to be honest, it's usually ideal to plan for more, to have more players than you plan because you already know life's going to happen. A
Yeah.
couple of them are going to go. Hell, look at Nikki. He was with us in the first session on this campaign, and then after that, dipped.
Yeah, like we have no idea what happened to Nick. In fact, he hasn't been on for so long. He's been dealing with a lot of family stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I
But
see
it's
his
just
Snapchat all the time.
that's the thing. Life happens. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And you know, and even my brother, he doesn't want to join on this one. Like he loves the idea of the Wild West and the dinos, but he just feels like the campaign's not for him.
How so?
And mostly just because it's not really having any of the complete freedom that Fantasy Zone has. Because that's what he likes. He likes having complete and undeniable freedom to do what he wishes to. I mean, hell,
I
you've seen him.
mean,
He's more of a meme player.
you have complete freedom in Dinosaurs of the Wild West. I don't see what you're talking about.
Mostly
If you,
toward classes.
oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah. That's the one thing.
Well, if he
And
likes the Wild West, then what's wrong with being a gunslinger?
that too.
It,
Remember the first of Dragon Odyssey? That kind of killed gunslingers for him having that happen. And after he's like, you know what? Fuck this shit.
you might want to explain to him that guns work differently in this campaign. We might actually be able to get him in here then.
Boss, I'll definitely talk to them. They work differently, but it's just the misfire and the gun can break is the one thing that is like,
Well,
oh,
it's also the fact that that was a slew of very painful nat ones.
oh god, that entire campaign. Honestly, I don't know. I don't even think we can recover from it entirely.
The caveat with guns is that guns do a shit ton of damage, but they're delicate in D&D. That's generally how they work. Like they do good damage. They have really good armor piercing. It's like it is a very good weapon, but the ammo is expensive and the guns are delicate somewhat.
Exactly.
I'm thinking that despite everyone not wanting to, I'm thinking we're just gonna have to retire like Dragon's Odyssey. You know what I mean?
I'm personally not against that, just because we're at such a fucked
Boom
point.
really doesn't want to retire Dragon's Odyssey, but I feel like we just have to because as much as I would love to play that campaign, that's just like granted that campaign is shorter, but it's still like
Yeah, as a whole, like here's everything that went wrong. My brother has no primary weapons left. Like he's down to the bare bones. His arm's broken. I'm starting off the game nerfed, and I can't interact with people because of my
you
race.
say that you say nerfed. You're not nerfed.
Weak.
You're just currently weakened by the season because it's snowing out and you're a
I
red
know. That's what I'm
dragon.
saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm quote unquote nerfed. That knows I said quote
No,
unquote.
nerf implies I made it winter to inhibit you. You're
Well, that's
inhibited
not what I'm
by the season
implying.
itself.
And then I think Boom's the only one without any severe problems at the moment. But that's one out of three that are currently not fucked.
Yeah.
Like for God's sake, the first session we had me, the goddamn
The legendary moment where you're fucking Sorcerer has to tank for the gunslinger.
Hit me, bitch. That's when you know your campaign went down the shitter when the sorcerer
Like,
has to
can you
tank.
imagine, like, okay, so Caragors are really fucking tough, right?
Yeah,
But owlbears are tougher. Can you imagine if you fuckers encountered an owlbear instead of a Caragor?
that would have been a party wipe. I'm not gonna lie,
That would have
because
been
even
a
that,
that would have been a party wipe. Like, okay,
we only
let's say
barely beat the Paragor.
let's say you guys didn't have all your nat ones. That still might be a party wipe, or someone might go through a death check.
Oh, easy. Hell, didn't my brother go through that check?
No, he didn't. He almost did.
Yeah, I know he got downed, but he was able to get some good damage off. It just
Yeah.
was at the price of his rifle.
God.
But
Like, and the next session didn't go much better. It was all just like down the shitter after that. It's like he tried to climb a tree. He gets lost in the woods. Tries to climb a tree. Falls down, breaks his arm, gets back to camp, goes near a river, falls into the river head first, and almost drowns.
and then, oh, you're right. Boom actually almost froze to death. Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Wait, was that
Yeah,
Boom? I thought it was your brother that fell through the
no,
ice.
that was Boom that fell.
Oh yeah, slipped and fell head first through the ice.
So yeah, everyone had something happen to them. Like I said, that campaign's like Dark Souls of D&D. Honestly, it
It's
just
meant to be the Skyrim of like a Giant's Crown and Dragon's Odyssey are meant to be more Skyrim esque than they are anything else, and somehow you guys turned it into Dark Souls.
essentially, yeah, like it just the bot hated us every time we played that set. I don't know how, but every session we ended off worse than we were at the beginning. I could not get
Granted, you
why.
guys are in a pretty okay position. I mean, there are worse positions you could be in, if I'm being completely honest. But
It's
looking at where you are right now, like back in Dragons, looking at where you are in Dragons Odyssey, you're about to go into a city. Like you're not in the worst shape ever. It's just that there's still some things we have to come overcome if we're gonna get the party healthy again.
exactly. And if it wasn't winter, I'd be down to go at it again, but it's just the fact we got fucked on the season draw. And with that, amongst everything else, we just it's one of those campaigns where it's going to be an uphill battle.
Runs dead reset.
Essentially, it's like doing a Nuzlocke challenge and then losing all your Pokemon due to one encounter at the very beginning, like
Do
losing your
you
entire team out of
do
first
you
gym
do
leader.
that thing in Nuzlocke where you'll take a bunch of the shitty Pokemon from your box and you'll just like go into a gym just to fucking like feel it out, and just because you're gonna sacrifice every single Pokemon in there?
Well, no, because I use the Nuzlocke rule where it doesn't matter if you have Mons in the box. If your entire party, all 6 Mons on you
Yeah,
die,
that is one of the rules you can implement.
that's what I go by. However, to counteract that, I do apply the dupes rule, where basically, say I caught a Bidoof in Gen 4, and I encounter like a Barrel or a Bidoof later down the road as my one encounter, I can basically, quote unquote, re-roll that and find something different. So that way I don't have a team of 3 fucking Bidoofs fighting the Rock Gym Leader.
Yeah.
Like that rule, honestly, I think that's like that. It's one of those rules where like you can use it or you
My
can avoid
first,
it, but most Nuzlocke users
my
go by it.
first ever fucking, my first ever fucking run of a Nuzlocke back in original Ruby, I'm sorry, original Sapphire. Fucking just getting two fucking shroomishes and just going, ah, fuck.
Honestly, Shroomish is not a bad mon,
It's
especially
not,
for
it's not bad, but the
Viridian.
problem is I had two of them.
Yeah, honestly, I think the funniest thing is the one mon that carried me through a Nuzlocke was Chuggy. That was
You
like
still yet to say what Pokemon it is.
I could have sworn I have. It was a Gulpin, and I evolved
Oh
into
god,
Swalot.
you're right. Okay.
Yeah, like look at if you pull up Gulpin, you'll see why I called
Dude,
him Chuggy.
I had a Swalot, I know.
Like that motherfucker refused to die, and he kept my run alive, and that's why.
They don't fucking die.
Like,
It's like that's why you don't see many other like tanky poison types anymore, because they don't fucking die.
bruh. Speaking of tanky poison types, Alolan Muck. Oh My God, back
Isn't
when I
it?
was the poison gym leader,
Isn't
I
he
used
like
his
a?
ass.
Isn't he like a fucking? I forget the Alolan Muck. What is he again?
He's poison and dark.
Yeah, that's right.
But honestly, I paired him. I made him an attacker with an assault vest, since his only genuine weakness was like earthquake and honestly, I think earthquake was honestly it. Like if I think about it more, I'll find another weakness he had. But he was such a good defensive typing. And so a lot of people wouldn't resort to using like earthquake on him. Instead, they'd use like regular special moves since his special defense isn't the best. So pair him with an assault vest, you had to hit him with like earthquake or like close combat, some shit to hit him hard. But in that time frame, he'd use knockoff and then like sludge bomb or some shit.
God.
Yeah, he hit like a truck.
Yeah, like that's the thing about like here's the thing. Certain Pokemons, you're like, what the fuck's this thing? And so like they just turn out to be wow, this Pokemon's like really good.
Oh yeah, that's the one thing I like about Nuzlocke is it forces you to use a team that you haven't used before, basically.
Fucking losing my Graveler to a suicide bomber on the way to Lava Ridge City going through the ash. That pissed me off so much.
Okay, if you want to
You
feel
know
like
what I'm talking about. Going through all those ash. You hit the tree, then you fucking okay. Ninja Kid throws out a fucking Voltorb and it uses self destruct on first turn, and my Graveler fucking goes.
fucking one thing that oh, shit, what was I saying? I think the most tragic Nuzlocke death I've ever had. I was playing Fire Red and I had a Dragonite, and what I ended up doing was I was on my way to Mewtwo and I encountered a Wobbuffet.
Uh, Wobbuffets are death sentences back in some of the games. Like in Hoenn region, like there's a player, or I'm sorry, there's a trainer that has a Wobbuffet that's very important you avoid that because that Wobbuffet has been known to pick off Pokemon. It's famous for almost like Winry is famous for sweeping teams because of her fucking Altaria.
Or fucking Whitney with her goddamn Miltank.
Don't even start. Don't even at me about Whitney.
I'm a Cyndaquil user in Johto, man. That shit sucked.
Dude, of course it fucking sucks. Like, Whitney for no reason is too difficult for her own good. Her Miltank is like
Like, granted, there's a way you can cheese it. Just do a trade to get him a chop named Muscle. But
much up.
exactly. But I'm like, why would I get him a choke? I can't evolve it. I don't play with anybody to evolve him to a Machamp. But
That always made me mad that you had to trade Pokemon to get
uh,
certain ones.
I
Like,
think that's the dumbest
I
shit.
always loved how Golem looked. Never understood how Golem Graveler turned from a rock into a lizard thing. But I always loved how Golem looked. I never had anyone to fucking trade for one though.
Exactly. Especially on like GTS back then, where people were like, "Yeah, I'll give you this Graveler, but I want a Kyogre."
It's like, what the fuck do you mean, a Kyogre? You know what I mean?
The amount of
It's
times
like,
I've seen people post a Rattata and they request a Rayquaza and be like, "Shiny, please." Yes, because I'm gonna totally give you a shiny Rayquaza for a fucking rat.
it's just like begging choosers. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
But
here's the thing. Here's some big brain about that. Where you're as big brain on Pokemon, I'm big brain on Animal Crossing. So, like back during April when the Bunny Day event was going on, and there was a bunch of eggs, everyone was really fucking tired of all the eggs because their spawn rate was super fucked. So everything was just eggs instead of any other material. And towards the end of Bunny Day, I didn't really care for any of the items you could craft with the eggs. So I literally just hoarded a bunch of them. And I think it was just like about a month ago or maybe a few weeks ago that I went on the trading thing for the Animal Crossing Discord. And I'm like, I'm looking through and I'm like, okay, I'm looking for seasonal items, any seasonal items. And then I'm like, okay, what seasonal items you got? Because I do have a stockpile of each. And they're like, this is a shot in the dark, but if you have any eggs, I'd like them. And I'm like, dude, I have like a ton of eggs. They're like, okay, how much of each? And I literally posted how many I had of each. And I fucking walked away from that encounter with 80 Nook Mile tickets.
bro, speaking of
And
hoarding,
just for context, if anyone doesn't know what that jargon is in Animal Crossing. Nook Mile tickets are basically things you can use to go on mystery tours, which will take you to a random island. And if you have an open lot, like you don't have a villager in that lot, you'll basically find random villagers on those islands. So the players like us, we use those Nook Mile tickets as basically a form of currency. You know what I mean? That and gold nuggets and certain type of DIYs, like we basically treat those as currency.
Fucking so speaking of like rare shit, the rarest Pokemon to this day I have is a shiny Vespiquen. And to give you an idea,
Vespiquen.
of female Combees.
Oh, right.
For context, Combi only in Gen 4, because this is a Gen
I've
4
heard this
capture.
story before. Oh man, you're gonna go off on this again.
Yes.
Give us the abridged version, please, because this story is quite long.
Okay, Combies only come from trees with honey. There's a 12.5% chance that the Combi will be female. And back in Gen 4, it was a 1 in 8,192 chance. And each tree you can only check once every 8 hours.
Yep.
And I managed to get a shiny female Combi. Therefore, that's why shiny Vespiquen is one of the rarest fucking shinies to get,
I'll
at
say this
least
about
before Gen 8.
Vespiquen. Like it's hard to get a Vespiquen, like, and that's understandable. But the thing about it is that like even a normal, even back then, just having a Vespiquen was kind of a flex. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, which was funny in hell because honestly, like I love Vespiquen. I think she's a cool ass Pokemon, but her stats are just where she kind of falls short. Like they're still not bad, especially with the pressure in nature. Like she has a 102 defense and a 102 special defense, and her attack and special attack are both base 80, which isn't bad. What fucks her is her speed at 40 as a bug and flying type. You so much as throw a goddamn pebble at her, she dies. Like if the
Yeah,
rock,
bug types always struggle unless they're really high end bug types.
like Scolipede, oh my god, do not fuck with Scolipede.
Yeah, it's always depressing because like bug type is the one type that gets like super like just like thrown to the wayside.
Although they have came a stupid long way. Like in my opinion, they're the typing with the most improvement since from Gen 1 to Gen 8.
Yeah, like
Because
you are right.
like in Gen 1, they only had Bug back then. What for some reason in Gen 1 through 3 was considered special. Most bug types were physical attackers.
Yeah,
And then you pair that with the fact that, they're meant to target single out psychic types. But back then, the hardest hitting bug type move was Twin Needle from a Beedrill.
yep.
That's not going to do shit to an
Speed,
Alakazam.
speed, speed stab, twin needle, and pray to God it poisons.
Exactly. And so nowadays, like, there's some really good bug types. Like, you got Golisopod with its gimmick of go in, hit, get the fuck out, go back in,
Yep,
hit, think,
U turn being that new move. It's just like yep, hit and dip.
bro, not even YouTube. First, or U turn, fucking first impression on a
Yeah.
Golisopod with a choice band. Oh my fucking hell. That thing hits like a truck. You also got Scolipede
Speaking
with speed
speaking of
boost.
improvements,
Hmm.
you know how you know how you do Gigantamax, right?
Yeah.
Or not even that. It's just Dynamax and Gigantamax.
Hmm.
Fucking all of a sudden, like seeing Leon Gigantamax and using Max Overgrowth, and I just go, wait, what the fuck? Like I was like, how the fuck did this Charizard just use? And then I realized,
Solar beam.
oh, solar because oh. And then that was when it hit me like, oh my god, Gigantamaxing has another like whole sort of like system behind it where you can totally cheese and get other G Max moves out of it.
Oh yeah, and I mean that's the funniest thing is there's a reason why all Dynamaxing and G Maxing are banned to Ubers because
Really?
of the fact. Oh yeah, they're all banned to Ubers because if you Dynamax at the wrong time, you lose by default. It's seriously that simple. Because say for example, honestly, it comes down to depending on who goes first and what move they use first.
Well,
So,
here's the thing about that. It's like an Alpharad's video where he would always Dynamax before the gym leader would, and it's just like the kind of takes away from. So in my playthrough, I made sure I Dynamaxed after they Dynamaxed, but at the same time, that kind of ended with me losing a Pokemon every now and then, and I'm just like, yeah, Dynamax is a problem.
Oh yeah, especially since like with the flying type granting speed
Especially,
control.
especially, especially you having a problem with Miss Opal.
Oh, fuck Opal's gym, dude. Fuck Opal's gym. Like it wasn't difficult even with the debuffs. Like it was easy still with her
You
steel type.
you hate that gym so fucking much.
Like she lists off breakfast. Of course you eat curry for breakfast. You certainly
You're
wouldn't eat
just
eggs.
you're just mad because you're just mad because you got every single one of the questions wrong.
No, I got the last one right. That bitch ain't 16. I don't give a shit what she says.
Too
And I
bad.
still got the debuff.
Too
Um,
bad.
I was
You
like,
got you got every single question wrong from the 3 starting to the 3 at the end. You got all 6 wrong.
well, no, okay, no. The first three I got right because that's just general typing and like the matchups. That's easy.
Okay,
But when
but
she started
what
listing
about
off,
the
like,
what about the girl that's like, "What did I have for breakfast today?" It's like, "I don't fucking know."
exactly, I'm like, I would assume eggs. Why the fuck would you eat curry for breakfast?
And then with Opal, it's like you flip that shit around.
And
Well,
then,
the thing is like, you know, it's like, well, fuck. I got that one right myself. I aced everything, but mainly because I knew they were gonna throw that shit at you. Because like, what the fuck do you make in Alola? Sorry, what the fuck do you make in
Galler.
Thank you. What do you make in the Galar region? Everyone makes fucking curry, so it's like, you know.
But the one thing that also pissed me off when she's like, "What's my favorite color?" You've been complimenting everyone on pink. I would hope to God it's pink. Oh no! While I enjoy it on others, it's actually not my
Well,
favorite color.
here's the
The
thing about that.
fuck?
You can sort of tell because her shawl is purple, isn't it?
No, it matches everyone else. It's
Oh,
pink and blue. There's no purple.
I thought her shawl. Hang on, let me look up
I'm
a.
pulling that up too because from
I could
memory I could have sworn
I could have
maybe
sworn
some purple.
Opal's shawl was purple.
She has a pulp. She has like a purple scarf, but her dress is pink and blue.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Her shawl, her scarf, it's
No,
purple.
but
Like that's what kind of clued me into it. I'm like, you like purple because it's commonplace for when you have a shawl like that, you or a shawl, or I guess it would be more of a boa than it is a shawl. Yeah, it's a boa because it's, yeah, fashion terms. Anyways, but like it was still the funniest fucking thing in the world where like I was going through that fight and I'm like, you like this? Your favorite color is that? 16. I like your answer. Oh god.
fucking
That was a fun fight though, I will say. Opal was unique. I like how you come into the Galar region and if they finally address like what does a gym leader do when they get too fucking old.
yeah, exactly. I was curious about that. Although I will say, like I said, I'm happy where they actually try to implement some competitive skill sets and some competitive viability. Because that was the problem with the last three generations. Is well, last two most specifically.
Like I said earlier, Milo fucking used stealth rock on me and I just about lost my shit.
But granted, by the time you get to Opal, you usually have a Corviknight, and it's like, fuck your fairies.
Never actually grabbed Corviknight.
Really, dude, I love Corviknight. He's hands down.
He's cool, but it's just like I just like I realized everyone had one, so I'm like, and he's cool, but it's just like I feel like there are other cooler flying types. That's why I put all my effort into that's why I put all my effort into training a what's the name Noivern.
Noivern's cool, and he does serve a decent purpose. And actually, he's faster than fuck.
Yeah.
In all honesty, like I'm actually pulling up his stats
Yep.
right now as we speak. Yeah, a 123 speed stat with a 97 special. Like this dude is meant to hit hard,
Yeah, you get that with stab, and it's like, well, fucking good night.
especially since if I remember correctly, he can actually learn Draco Meteor. He can learn Hurricane, which is actually good, especially if you pair that with like a rain team.
Yeah.
and he does get access to Dragon Dance with his attack at 70, so a Dragon Dance actually isn't a bad option with dual Wing Beat and
Yeah,
shit.
but the thing is, like, Altaria's in the game as well. Altaria's in the game now, so it's like, well, what other dragon type do you need after that? You know what I mean?
Oh, simple Dragonite.
Well,
Dude,
yeah,
I'm excited to fuck around with Dragonite.
Dragonite's good, but the problem for me is that because Hoenn was what I grew up with, along with Yellow version,
Hmm.
but like Altaria is just the eternal, just like you build that fucker right and you're nearly unstoppable.
Especially back in Gen 6 when it had the dragon and fairy typing, you had to have an ice or a fucking poison type. Or yeah, a
Yeah,
dragon or an
it
ice
doesn't
type to
doesn't
deal
have
with it.
fairy type anymore, right?
No, not without its mega. Only with its mega does it
Yeah.
gain dragon and fairy.
It's just like Altaria is just like the biggest like no you Uno card when it comes to Pokemon, or it used to be. Like I remember back in the day when we were all playing Hoenn together at school, wherever it be, and just people like were just like trying. We were brainstorming on the playing ground. How the fuck do we get past Winona? And
Honestly,
and I remember we were at I was at a friend's house and there was three of us over there and it was literally we were literally there for almost 3 hours just trying to get past Winona
you know what
because
I
because that
fucking did?
because that tell me that was a wake up call back in the day, wasn't it?
A little bit. Granted, I had a nose pass.
Of
So
course you
I
would,
just
that's
kind of
right.
said, fuck that shit. Um, but for me, the gym leaders I had the hardest time with in Hoenn were actually the psychic twins.
Tate and
I
Liza.
always I always had a hard time with them.
Why
Mostly
does
because
everyone say that?
it's oh simple really. I was a Blaziken guy. So Blaziken would get one shotted by either psychic or earthquake.
I've never ever had a problem with Tate and Liza in any of the versions. In fact, I always looked at their gym and I always got through it like, like it's something I look forward to because it's an easy gym.
Well, what
But
starter did you use?
I've done a playthrough with all three starters, and each roadblock is in a different place for me. When Blaziken's roadblock was for me, my Blaziken roadblock is always when you fight your rival right after the electric gem.
Honest, that's the funniest thing. I've never struggled with that one.
Yeah, okay, and my roadblock with Sceptile is the electric gym. And then
That's understandable. Magneton was always a pain in the ass to deal with.
yeah, and then my roadblock for I'm using their final evolutions, but they wouldn't be at these evolutions at these points. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And then my Marshtomp, right?
Swampert, yeah.
Swampert. I'm sorry. Yeah,
No, you're
my
good.
my roadblock for Swampert would be oh god, what was the name of that gym? I'm
What was the typing?
trying to think. It was
Because there's no grass gym leader, and that's
no,
the
there
only
is
weakness
there
Swampert
there isn't,
has.
but I'm trying to think of
The only one I
did
could think of that
did
Swampert would
did my
have a hard
did,
time.
did Swampert ever even have a roadblock in those playthroughs?
Not really, because here's the way
Yeah, no, no, no. No gym really ever stopped Swampert
that's why
because
Swampert is hands down the best of all the starters. He
yeah,
has no roadblock. By the time he
until
gets to the electric
until
gym,
you
he's
get
the
to until
hard
you get
stop.
to the Elite Four, in which case you really want to blaze again.
Not necessarily. Most because the champion is basically a second water gym leader.
Well, here's the thing. It depends on what version you're playing.
Yeah, because in
Because in Ruby you fight Wallace and you want a Blaziken for him.
what? No, Wallace is the you're talking about Steven, the rock guy.
Yes, that's what I meant to say, Steven. Because you fight Steven and you want a Blaziken for him.
Yeah, Blaziken wrecks his shit. Whereas in Emerald, oh god, no. Oh no, no,
Wallace
no, no.
Wallace is fucking easy by comparison. Like
Oh, in comparison, most definitely, it's just Blaziken can't do anything. But by that point, you have enough Pokemon that can deal with his team. Like by that point, you'd have like a competent flying type to deal with a Ludicolo. You usually have a good electric or grass type to deal with the rest of his fucking team, and a grass type to deal with his what
Kingdra.
is it? No, actually, not Kingdra. Kingdra belonged to Juan. Wallace actually didn't use him. Wallace's ace was actually a Milotic,
Oh
and
yeah.
she would just do the stall strat,
Oh
just
no no
like
he had that
Kingdra.
electric fist. The what's it called?
The electric fish.
The Wish Cast.
Yeah, Whiscash is the water ground type. That's what I was saying, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
grass. But like I said, Milotic was actually his ace, and you would use Toxic, I think Recover, and would just stall you out. So you had to have like a grass
Toxic,
or electric
toxic,
type.
toxic, toxic stalled by Waltz's Milotic has just become a thing in Ho, and it's just the meme of that fight.
Yeah, honestly, that's the funniest thing because that's usually where a lot of the Pokemon Challenge video guys tend to struggle at the very end is the Milotic, because it's never like, oh, can I one shot? It's more of can I beat them before Toxic KOs me.
Exactly. Full
Speaking
res-
of which,
full restores.
that reminds me actually. So in Gen 1, what would you say is the hardest gym leader for you to deal with?
Alright,
Like on average.
before or after I got good?
On just from memory.
I will ask again. Before or after I understood how Pokemon worked?
Well, that's why I said Gen 1 because Gen 3 still does apply to Kanto. Just because of Fire Red, Leaf Green, all the gym leaders went through reworks.
I- okay, so when I was little and I didn't quite understand how Pokemon worked, Brock was the hardest gym for me. When I was older and I understood how Pokemon worked, I will say that, oh god, I spent a long time on the electric type gym because I had no idea you had to go rooting around in the fucking trash cans. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, fuck that puzzle.
And I will say that poison type gym was a pain in the ass as well.
Mm.
But I will say that I never really had trouble with a gym. I'll say that I probably wiped one or two times like trying to do a gym, but I never actually was like this gym's impossible. Like
For me, the most common gym I've struggled with was always Misty. Mostly because
that's another one. Yeah, yeah. Misty was always a
about
fucking
80% of the
problem.
time I chose Charmander. Because I already knew with Brock, I would just level up
Understand
Charmander.
understand I didn't have fire red or leaf green. I've Yeah, I just realized something. Why is there no like water blue?
Well, that's just because I think honestly, I think it's just because the two main playable characters were Red and Leaf.
Makes sense. Anyways, I will say, what was I talking about now? Oh yeah,
You were talking.
yeah. Understand? Like I didn't have fire red or leaf green. I had yellow version, so I had to start out with a Pikachu.
Oh yeah,
So that already gimps you at the first gym and at
you
the
had to catch a Mankey at the very beginning. Like you absolutely had
it
to.
wasn't even just Mankey for me. It was a Mankey and I needed a Mankey and I needed a Nidoran. And the second that Nidoran learned double kick was the fucking end for the rock gym. And
Yeah,
that's
and
what
that's
that is when it clicked in my head that typing is a thing in Pokemon because I was like, why do all these other moves do nothing to the Onyx but double kick shreds it? And that's when I realized, there are different move types. You know what I mean?
yeah. For me, I would always level up Charmander to 14 to learn Metal Claw, and then I would be stuck at Misty until I either had a Bellsprout that could whoop its ass or an Oddish. But there was sometimes where I would just be determined to go out with a fucking Pikachu. And if anyone ever seen Pikachu's stats, you understand why even that's garbage. Gen 2, what would you say is like a gym leader you struggled with?
Didn't really play Gen 2 that much, but when I actually got around to playing it, it's everyone's that fucking Miltank.
It's not even Whitney, it's just Miltank.
It's not Whitney, it's the Miltank.
It didn't help at all. It was female. Most starters are male, and it could use attract. The only time I ever like genuinely breezed through it is when I had a female Cyndaquil. By that point, it was a Quilava that knew Smokescreen. She couldn't
I
use
still
attract.
just not to interrupt, but I still say the coolest moment for me in Pokemon ever was like when we all figured out like I didn't have Gen 2, but I had a friend that had it and I was watching him play and his Typhlosion learned Thunder Punch and we lost our shit because we realized Pokemon could learn moves that weren't their typing and that changed the game for everyone. You know what I mean?
I still find it funny that Charizard can learn Dig.
Yeah.
Gen 3, let's see here. You said the electric type. For me, like I
It
said, is the
wasn't
psychic type.
Gen 3 wasn't really so much the electric type. Like I'll say this, I had quite some trouble with the rival fights more often than not than I had with any other gym. Like I was stuck behind May for for an uncomfortably a long amount of time.
Yeah, honestly, I miss how old rivals were, where they actually would like have Mon strong against you rather than always pick the starter weak, and you would learn the stab move at level 6. I'm like, hold the fuck up! No, 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 no.
Here's the thing about Hop though. It's like, yeah, Hop takes the Pokemon that's weak against your starter. And yeah, it's like it's admirable that he's like doing crap like, he's changing up his team to keep you on your toes. But
Wooloo. Do I have to say any more about Wooloo?
he talks so much about, yeah, I'm your rival. It's like, dude, May kicked my ass back in the day, and even May for Alpha and Alpha Ruby and
Omega or
Omega
Omega Ruby and Alpha
Yeah,
Sapphire.
yeah, sorry. Like they toned that down so hard, and it's just like I kind of
Bro,
like I had gone back to one of my Game Boy versions of Ruby or Sapphire, and I was doing some fuck shit where I was trying to level a couple of Mons, and I was like, okay, I'm leveling this. It's clear that I was leveling this Gyarados. Let's go dive and fight a random Pokemon. That's like a 6 level difference. Should be fine. It wasn't fine. It wasn't fine. That's how much Nintendo has babied us. Those old games actually made us fucking think.
all right. Honestly, Gen 4, I honestly believe was actually no, I would say Gen 5 was the last like difficult game, but Gen 4, what would you say is the area you struggled in?
Unova?
No, that's Sinnoh. For me,
What were your starters in Sinnoh?
Infernape, Empoleon, Torterra.
I never played Sinnoh.
Really?
My
Dude.
cousins were the ones that had Sinnoh. Remember,
Oh my god.
I didn't have a DS for a very long time.
I take it you didn't play Gen 5 either then.
That was Unova, right?
That's Unova.
I watched a playthrough of Unova.
So,
No, no,
okay.
no. I should say I watched the anime for Unova.
Fucking so
Unova was Tepig and Snivy
te-
and Oshawott, right?
bingo.
Yeah, but I watched the anime for Unova.
So in Gen 5 in Gen 4,
I still say like out of all three of those, Oshawott was the I liked Tepig until I realized Oshawott was way cooler.
I loved Samurott, and I actually had a lot of fun using him. I understand why a lot of people don't like him, but I honestly thought he was the coolest. But in Gen 4, the area I
I loved Zekrom. I thought he was the coolest looking
oh
legendary ever.
both him and Reshiram actually.
Well, here's the thing. Reshiram is I was just like he's cool, but then I look over at Zekrom and I'm just like he's way cooler though.
That's the thing between them. So Zekrom immediately, I was like, damn, I want that guy. And then as I used Reshiram in my gym as the fire gym leader, he was my Uber. He grew on me, and since then I've actually grown to like Reshiram more. But
I like the concept of just like cure him. Like it's
oh,
literally he literally just comes along and it's just like you and then he just beats the shit out of one of them and absorbs it.
essentially, yeah. But in Gen 4, the area I always had a hardest time in because back when I actually played Gen 4, I was still young, was Cynthia. Cynthia, in my opinion, is the best Pokemon champion we've ever had.
Cynthia is who?
She's the Sinnoh champion. She had a team that was actually like
Wasn't she the chick that wears that long black coat and has the
competitive
guard?
viable. She had a Milotic, Roserade,
Yeah,
a
yeah, but
Spiritomb, a
she was the
fucking
she was the
Garchomp, Lucario, and Togekiss. What?
may I speak now?
Hello? Yeah, sorry.
Okay. She's the chick with the long black coat, the shawl, and the Garchomp, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember my cousins raging the fuck out over fighting her.
Like her entire team was stacked. They all countered each other's weakness. The only typing that I always failed to go in with was an ice type. And honestly, having an ice type made it easier. But if it did not outspeed the Garchomp or the Lucario, you got fucked.
I remember. I forget the context, but I remember an episode of the anime where I think they were under the effects of like a psychic Pokemon or some shit,
Hmm.
and Ash was dreaming, and he was on like the center stage for like champion fights, and because this shit's so stupid, like Cynthia had Rayquaza, and Pikachu took it out with like a Volt Tackle, and it was just like,
Oh my
what the,
god.
what the, and Ash thought it was fucking real because he's stupid as hell. And I'm just like sitting there going, Ash, your Pikachu just took down like the Guardian of the Skies, and you fucking think this is no. I don't care how high your Pikachu is leveled, that shit doesn't fly.
Fucking okay. So I'm happy we're at Gen 5 for this one because Gen 5 is honestly where I believe rival battles started going downhill. So
Um,
from gens 1 through 4, rival battles were supposed to be like actual.
just to make sure, Gen 5 is Unova, right?
Yes.
Yes,
So
The America game that nobody likes to talk about.
well, that's actually the funny thing. Gen 5 has actually grown to be a lot more popular as time progressed.
Well, yeah, because Gen 5 music hit different.
That as well as some of the Pokemon, especially compared to some of the newer ones, are actually not that. But one of the reasons why I actually dislike Gen 5 was almost every fucking route you fought not one, but three goddamn rivals. Seriously, Gen 1, you had maybe six rival battles, one optional. In Gen 5, there's 27 rival fights.
Really?
That shit's, yeah, it's no longer special. You went through 'em accounting your rival once every 2, 3 routes to make sure your team, is strong enough to continue on. And out of those three rivals, only one of them was actually worth a damn. The other two were just XP fodder. Not to mention with Gen 5 with the XP gating, basically if your Pokemon's a higher level than the other one it defeated, it gains less XP. So power grinding to level up was so fucking tedious. More than
Yeah.
any other game. And so in Gen 5, honestly, the area I struggled with was the normal type gym leader. Just because she had a Stoutlander, I think is its name,
Yep.
that knew retaliate. And oh my god, that thing would one shot anything in front of it. And like I said, I think Gen 5 is still fun, and I still enjoyed the Pokemon there. Like Krokorok is one of my favorites, Samurott, and I still had a lot of fun. But you were so limited as well because Gen 5 had one of the smallest dexes, and you were only able to use those mons until you beat the fucking game. And even half the map was closed off till
Can
you
I
beat the champion.
can I say something real quick?
Go nuts.
Like, we all love Pokemon and all that stuff, but what the fuck is wrong with It's Game Freak, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
What the fuck is wrong with Game Freak? Like, look, I'm not one of the people that says Sword and Shield is terrible and all the previous Pokemon games have been terrible, but Pokemon makes so much money, and I feel like no matter what they put out, they still make so much money because it's Pokemon. It's fucking Pokemon. Like
exactly.
you remember that night where we were all in a voice call together. It was you, me, Ori, and a few other people, and we're all you like. Three of you were complaining about the tree graphics, and I'm like, well, guess what? We're all still gonna buy it because it's Pokemon. Then everyone's like, well, I'm not gonna buy it. It looks bad. I'm like, fuck you. It's Pokemon. It doesn't matter what the graphics are. It's fucking Pokemon, so we're still gonna buy it. And guess what? Everyone bought it and said Sword and Shield's amazing. But I feel going back in that now, looking at it, I feel like despite everything, like Game Freak is too lax when it comes to everything. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and don't get me wrong, I didn't complain about the tree. I was laughing about that one,
Yeah.
and I never really gave.
There goes his mic again.
But the DS just couldn't handle it.
Your mic went out
It should
again.
have just waited for one more gen.
Your mic went out again.
God damn it, fucking internet.
Start again.
Uh, so I never complained much about the graphics except for Gen 5 because they try to push 3D, but the DS wasn't strong enough to handle that.
Yeah.
But
But
what
like
I
I have gripes with like Sword and Shield now. I don't want to, but like I do now. It's like I have the Reggies. I throw them out, and it's like I'm almost taller than the fucking Reggies, and I'm just like, what?
yeah, the quote unquote Titans are shorter than most people.
Like
What?
it just boggles my mind because like we have this large 3D area. Dynamaxing is a thing. I mean, can't you just pull the camera back or something? It's like Pokemon Stadium did the same thing, and that game's fucking how old? And it's like if they needed to, like, okay, this sounds. I know it's ludicrous to say this, but you can delay Pokemon. I think people will understand. It's Pokemon. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's what everyone was saying. By the way, I just pulled up the three original Reggie's height. Reggie Rock is 5'7". He's literally only an inch taller than me. Reggie Steele, being the tallest, is only 6'3".
God, the original heights were so fucked.
I'm taller than a goddamn Charizard. I'm
Yeah,
5'6".
that's. I think that's the most egregious of all of them was the Charizard's original height.
Especially in the anime when Charizard towered over everyone, but he's 5'4". I'm like, so what? Is everyone in the Pokemon universe like 3 feet tall?
I know,
I
right?
understand they're 10-year-olds, but even by 10 years old, you should be taller than 3 fucking feet.
Yeah, but the thing about that is that like it was so egregious that like they try to sort of sweep that under the rug, but it's like, well, they're the original fucking things. You know what I mean? It's not like you can really go back on that. Like, I will say this in the what was it, Lucario movie, arguably one of the best Pokemon movies ever, except Pokemon 2000s is the best. Fight me, I don't care who you are. Anyways,
Bet.
um, so Lucario movie, like one of the best Pokemon movies ever to happen, and the Regirocks being the first time I'd ever seen the Regirocks. You know what I mean? And my mind just started. I've told the story like 100 times, I think, but like my mind just started racing because I was like, "Are these even Pokemon?" I mean, they know what they are. They're called Reggie, whatever. But I was like, "So they are Pokemon?" But like, what the fuck are they? And just the fact they're so big, each one moves differently. The fact that they can kind of set the fact that Reggie Steel can kind of levitate is fucking ridiculous. But it's just like the Reggies are just so unique and so amazing, and they're so big and towering and intimidating. That's their whole point. You know what I mean? And then just to fucking, we're in the Gala region. It's like, yeah, I'm like, I'm 5'3".
The funniest thing too about the whole Charizard height thing, mind you, Ash's Charizard, the one that towered over everyone, was the runt. It was seriously up to other
I
Charizard's
know.
shoulders. So I'm
Yeah,
like, hold up.
that was even more egregious.
I'm like, so let me get this straight. A regular Charizard's like 5'4". This Charizard is up to the shoulders, so that means he's like 4'5". He still towers over everyone. So you mean to tell me everyone's like 3 foot, 2'9"? Well, like
God.
that Charizard, Ash's Charizard would only come up to maybe my chest then. I'm like, what the fuck is this
Yeah.
shit?
Congratulations, Red. You're finally taller than something.
Hey, fuck you.
Be granted, you set yourself up for that one.
What was it also? Oh yeah, so but yeah, that was just the weirdest thing about with Pokemon and some of the heights.
Not
And
even
the
not
funny
even that, just some of the Pokédex entries. Like we all get it now. It's like the researchers are just assuming shit because they saw a Pokemon do a singular behavior and they assumed, oh, it must be like that because it does this. Like the famous one is the Larvitar being like it eats a mountain to
to grow
evolve,
big,
and it's just like that's not fucking true. You know what I mean?
and the Machamp pushing a mountain. Although the Machamp being able to punch at Mach
That
speed,
is
honestly,
that has been rendered canon by Pokken.
yeah,
So he,
exactly. I saw that and I'm like, yo, my boy Machamp out here whooping some ass.
here's the thing about the Pokédex entries, like you have to take all of them with a grain of salt because not all of them are true. The ones that seem reasonable, probably true. The ones that are like, I don't know about that, Chief. Like the whole thing about what was I about to say? The whole thing about Drifloon carrying off kids when it's fucking tiny is just like,
Oh my god.
are you fucking serious? Like, there's a funny comic of that where the Drifloon like wraps itself around someone's wrist and it's like, now to take you away, and it tries to float up, and the girl just like smacks the Drifloon on like a park bench and just goes, "Ah!"
Fucking have you ever seen like Death Battle? They did one where it was Machamp versus
I was
Goro
I was
from
trying
Mortal
not to I
Kombat.
was trying not to I was trying not to talk about that video, but You know, that's that video is fucking great because it
Honestly,
just proves that silly beats serious every single time.
well, not always, but honestly, I actually for once agreed. Like, so taking all bias of Pokemon aside, usually I go at things with a non-biased point of
I
view.
knew Machamp was gonna win because it's super hard to kill a Pokemon.
Exactly, especially, and not to mention one theory that a lot of people are proposing, which I actually see for the most part, is the Pokemon universe is significantly more durable than our universe. Because think about it, you got literal tidal waves, hurricanes, earthquakes occurring all over in every battle, basically. Yet the world is fine. So that's what led people to believe, oh, I mean, hell, awakening fucking Kyogre and Groudon is supposed to flood the world or turn it into a turn it into a fucking desert.
Or both if it's Emerald.
Exactly, and look at that. The world
Well,
still continued on.
here's my hot take about that. You know what I mean? When
Mhm.
it comes to Pokemon moves, I imagine that they're on a smaller scale. So when you do Earthquake, I doubt the faults are moving underneath the earth right now. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking more or less it's like a small scale, like it's just that room. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I agree, and there's also
Because like if that was the case, fucking the Pokemon universe would be a fucking hellscape then.
oh, yeah, although granted, I do see that, like, most people are also more adorable. I mean, think about the amount of times Ash got electrocuted or has been, lit on fire. So,
I chalk that up to just anime shenanigans.
oh, easily anime shenanigans, but that's usually what people lead to say the world itself is more durable,
Yeah.
and, I mean, like I said, I with Death Battle, a lot of their shit
that
I
is
hard
unless you're
disagree with.
talking about the first couple episodes of Pokemon where Pikachu electrocuting everyone, that's actual real damage everyone's taking. That's not just anime shenanigans. Everyone's like on the ground going, "Oh."
Oh, yeah, and it was so funny because someone actually did the math to try to figure out Pikachu's, like, levels, and with that first episode where he KO'd all of those fucking Pidgeys.
And raise his speed EV to max because
uh,
that's the canon fucking explanation of why Pikachu's so fast.
exactly. That fight alone was proposed to put Pikachu all the way to, like, level 13 right off the bat, and then just it constantly kept on growing and growing, but it was so fun.
Here's what I want explained to me. It was explained to
Mm,
me once that why Pikachu is so weak at the start of every single anime is that his levels reset, and I'm like, how how do you make a Pokemon's level reset?
the best way I can describe, because if I recall correctly, doesn't Ash visit Professor Oak before he visits every region?
He visits Professor Oak to drop off all the Pokemon he got from that region, and essentially don't not so much donating them to Professor Oak, but giving them for Pokemon research.
Essentially, with his 30 fucking Tauroses.
We never got to see that episode.
I know, right? That's so fucking weird.
Yeah,
I seriously love it where he's
it's
like, "Whoa, that's a lot of Tauroses. Those are all yours, Ash." What?
you've been catching them all day. I love how that episode is fucking impossible to find now.
Oh yeah. Although I am not gonna lie, I saw Ash.
We can find the episode with the safari guy with the guns. We can find the episode where James has the inflatable boobs, but we can't find like that first pilot fucking episode of Pokemon.
I also do love. So I actually saw Ash's recent team in the new anime series going on because I watched a little bit with my younger brother, and
I've been meaning to check that out.
his team is stacked. He's got a Dragonite, a Gengar, a Riolu that just evolved into Lucario. Like that three alone is insane.
People have been talking about how that Gengar is one of the three Pokemon he hung out with in Gen 1.
Really?
Yeah, like that's actually a really big theory because like why would the Gengar help Ash then? Or why would the Gengar even be so friendly towards Ash? Because Gengars are all assholes.
Yeah. Although granted, his Gengar does still fuck with him.
I mean, it fucks them because that's what Gengars do. But it's just like I, it's like the one time where I'm like, okay, I'll believe this Pokemon fan theory because all the other ones are fucking stupid. Actually, I lie. There's two Pokemon fan theories I believe in. First one, Giovanni is totally Ash's dad.
Oh, I definitely see it because there is an episode where his mom did confirm they dated.
Wow.
So there's that strong
But
possibility.
I just wish there could be something more that comes out of that because of it. But it's like we're never gonna get that ever. I just wish we could have gotten something like that came out of it. It's just like a bit of dialogue, or just like we could have had like a Darth Vader moment where Ash is like he comes home and he's like, "Hey mom, like whatever happened to dad?" And she's like,
There was another theory where there's another guy that looks just like an older version of Ash that's out doing his own thing. So a lot of people believe it's him since the similarities are uncanny. But at the same time, we just don't get any more context out of it.
That makes that
But
makes
one,
n- it makes no sense because if there's an older Ash around doing his own thing, like that's as weird as the fucking theory that Red is Ash's dad.
yeah, that I find a little bit weird. However, there is one theory I've kind of came to terms with as to why Ash is still 10 fucking years old, despite him going to constant new regions. And I know all that didn't occur in a year, considering there's an event where Ash actually confirmed that it's been a year since he and Pikachu started on the adventure, and that was back in like 2007 or some shit.
Yeah,
And it's that in one of the first episodes, he saw a Ho-Oh. And in Ho-Oh's Pokedex, it states that upon seeing it, it will grant your wish. Ash's wish was probably he wants to catch Pokemon for the rest of his life. He wants to remain young so he can do it.
that makes sense.
That's legit the only theory I can come to terms with. Outside of
Yeah,
that, I'm like, how can you explain
I I
Brock
I
being
don't
older?
I don't I don't like fan theories because people will make them so needlessly dark or needlessly twisted. And one of the famous ones is the Totoro one, where Totoro is the Avatar or is the Grim Reaper in some cases, and the only reason he's bringing the little girls to their moms in the hospital is because he's about to like take her soul. And the creator of Totoro was like, "Are you fucking no? You're fucking stupid. Shut up." And I was like, "That's like my favorite one because it's finally a creator putting their foot down against all these stupid fucking fan theories and going, that's not what's happening. You're fucking stupid. How dare you do that to this kid's movie?" Whereas,
that
whereas, whereas, as J.K. Rowling was like, maybe, and then she got flack for saying no, Ron Weasley is not fucking Dumbledore.
granted, she's on a different level of
My my
crazy.
my my problem with that though is that's another argument altogether. Like, and that started such a stupid argument. Does the author have the right to say what is and is not okay in their own canon? And it's like, of course they fucking do. They're the author. They created it. They get to say what goes down. If Rowling says Ron Weasley isn't Dumbledore, he's not fucking Dumbledore. If Miyazaki, I'm not sure if it was Miyazaki, but let's just say it was. If Miyazaki says Totoro isn't the Grim Reaper, he's not the fucking Grim Reaper.
Exactly. Or, ooh, I love this one that some people will say. So, unfortunately, I have to revert back to that bit. But in Death Battle, where they did Ben 10 versus Green Lantern, and they're like, well, the creator did say Ben 10 with Alien X is multiversal. He said in it, he can destroy multiple universes using multiple thoughts. We took that as a joke. And it's like, look at everything else he can do. He created a universe in under a minute from memory just for the hell of it. He didn't prevent it because he had no fucking clue what's going on. But they did nothing to him, and he just recreated it for shits and giggles, practically.
Yeah.
So I mean, it takes more energy to create something than to destroy something.
Yeah, that's true. That that that
So
is that is that is actually illustrated so well in the Aragon books because they're trying to figure out an easy way to get across a desert, and Aragon's like, what if I just turn sand into water using the ancient language? And he does it, and he almost dies because the energy to turn sand into water, and he got so little water out of it that was completely useless that his dragon was super pissed because she's like, I swear to God, if you ever do anything that fucking stupid again, I will kill you.
exactly, and that was just the thing that made me like frustrated, and that's why with a lot of Death Battle these days, I actually I used to agree with a lot what they did, but I would do my own research, and I'd be like, hold the fuck up. Granted, there's one I find stupid shit they did. They did you ever seen what is it, Soul Eater?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Scrawny kid with a big ass sword that screams.
Oh, yeah, I know the kid. Corona.
Yeah, so they pinned him against Venom. Obviously, Venom's gonna lose that.
Why? Why would? What? Oh yeah, I
Ven-
remember seeing that. Yeah, it's like Well, yeah, no shit. Venom loses that. Like fucking. Okay, here's the main problem with Death Battle. All right, like they say they do research. They say they take into account everything, and in a way it makes sense. But some of these death battles, it's like, why would you even fucking do that? Like when they did the Thanos versus Darkseid one, and it's like Darkseid literally can't die. Thanos loses automatically no matter what. You were just looking for an excuse to put Thanos in a death battle because of Infinity War. That's literally it. And it's just like stuff like that makes me mad because it's like you're trying to go for a narrative rather than actual who would win it. And it's like you don't put Thanos up against Darkseid. I mean, granted, there isn't really anything else like Thanos, so what do you put him up against? Nothing. That's kind of the point. And the big fallout between the Superman versus Goku thing, it's just like, well,
Oh my god.
here's the thing
They
about that. It's like Superman's fucking stupidly overpowered in the first place.
and that's the other thing they do with a lot of DC. So I was like, why the fuck? I know DC characters are overpowered as shit, but there's some battles they should honestly be losing. And then as I looked back, I'm like, wait a minute, they're combining every version of them.
Exactly. Like when
Like,
when 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 War Machine beat Genos, I was like, "Wait, what the fuck?" And then it's just like they went back to the really really dumb like old stupid comics that were just like them pulling like insane bullshit, and I'm just like, you realize the modern version of War Machine would get his ass handed to him in like 2 seconds by current Genos because Genos is so fucking fast they kept up with Supersonic. But no.
exactly.
Like here's the thing. Like I thought Genos would win that not because of his power, but because of his speed.
Hmm.
He's fast enough to keep up with Supersonic, and Supersonic is so fucking fast. No one can touch him. Period.
Exactly. He's faster than the eye can track.
Yeah, and
And
like that's the thing. Supersonic is like fucking literally speed, and Genos
and
had to upgrade himself to keep up with Supersonic. But no.
and that's the other thing I've only seen them correctly do this once. And well, a few times actually, but recently they've been ignoring it. So they tend to connect travel speed with combat speed. They tend to combine those two together. I'm like, hold the fuck up. Those are two completely different things. Because so in a recent death battle where it was Saber Wolf versus another wolf combatant, they talked about how he was fast enough to keep track and keep up with some people. However, that's the thing. They never mention his actual combat speed because that's completely different. Think about it.
Yeah.
When you throw a punch or when you dodge, it's going to take you, you're going to be able to move faster in that instant than you will sprinting.
Also, I love how sometimes in death battles they'll take so liberties that are so fucking ridiculous that they'll say that this character can't dodge this because this character did X. But like here's the thing. Of course, Sora would beat the shit out of Pit, right? But
Hmm.
when they did that Sora's beam hitting the moon, and they're like, the moon being this far away, that beam would have to travel. Yeah, but it's a Disney verse. That moon is super fucking close. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
And
but but it's like they still take that measurement, and it's just like, granted, no way Sora would still lose that fight because if the character has any form of time manipulation, it's extremely hard for them to lose that fight.
they basically can only lose by their own fuck up.
Yeah,
Granted, there are a few exceptions because I've actually gotten into a few arguments involving shit like this. For example, League of Legends, Zed versus Echo.
oh boy,
The reason why I've always said Zed will win is Echo's not very well trained. He's pretty quick on his feet, but Zed fights in the shadows.
dude.
He only makes
Like
one strike.
I'll say this. You're expecting me to defend Echo. Echo fucking loses that. Remember in his reveal trailer when he was fighting that big dude and he had to reset the clock how many times because he was getting his ass handed to him?
Exactly. And that's the argument I keep pushing. I'm like, that's evident enough. He's not fast enough.
Yeah,
Zed's in a fucking
And
assassin.
Zed is like one of the fastest. Not the fastest in league period, but he's one of the fastest. You know what I mean? Like
He's been
like Shen Yi and Lee Sin are like some of the fastest champions in League of Legends. Just when I'm talking about
exactly.
foot speed and reaction time.
Exactly. Especially with how trained Zed is. And the fact that he can teleport via shadows. Mind you,
Jax as well. It's okay. So Jax, Shen, Zed, and Master Yi and Lee Sin. They're like some of the fastest on foot and reaction time champions out there. And like you think, okay, you think that he can. Echo can stop any of those guys, time manipulation or not. Like, I don't care who you are. If you put Echo up against Jax in an actual lore fight, not in league fight, like, he's not gonna beat Jax. I don't care
It's
how many times he resets the clock. Jax will beat the shit out of him. The only way Jax died in the cinematic is because literally Darius like threw him into a attack he could not dodge.
not to mention, like, that's the other thing that a lot of people don't take into account for when it comes to time is just like, yeah, they can turn back time, but most of these characters are going to aim for one lethal blow. They're not going to fuck around. Like, if you've ever seen any animation that involves, like, because it was one of my buddies I was arguing with him, he's like, yeah, but you can just revert time. But one strike is all that's required.
Yeah,
And
like
every
here's
animation we've seen of
everyone's
Echo,
like,
he's
oh yeah,
constantly getting hit.
yeah. Everyone's always like, oh, Echo can just turn back time. He's fine. It's like, yeah, but he keeps the damage. He doesn't.
Eh,
He doesn't fucking. You know what I mean? It's like the biggest thing for me is that his arm gets broken in the cinematic, and he restarts time, and you look at him and go, oh fuck, okay, okay, and then he finally gets it, but the mural breaks, and he's like, ah fuck, and he hits the reset button. It's just like,
Yeah, he still feels the pain. Sure, his bones might be put back together, but he still feels it. And he's 16 years old. Canonically, he's like in his 20s some shit, but because of how his time revert goes, he's like 16 right now.
yeah.
So obviously, he's not going to be as fast as someone who's been trained their whole life to kill. And that's why whenever people say, like, well, they got the time manipulation, sure,
Like
that's their quote
here's the
unquote
thing.
hack,
Here's the thing
but that
about
doesn't mean
that.
they win.
Dio still had time manipulation and he lost.
Oh, yeah. Like, you can completely lose with time manipulation. Sure, it gives you a massive advantage, but all it takes is one mistake. And that's something that a lot of people don't take into account. And that's the funniest thing is it was also funny about how they're like, yeah, we do our research, but with the Superman versus Goku death battle, especially round 2, they released that before we knew anything about Super Saiyan Blue. The creators,
Here's the thing about the Superman versus Goku death battles that
oh, I already knew Superman would win.
here's the thing that drives me up the wall with those things. You know what I mean? Like, sure, I was banking on Goku winning at first because we're all anime kids, but after realizing that, Superman is kind of just stupid overpowered, and the fact
Hmm.
that nobody could accept the fact that Goku lost twice, everyone's still salty over it. It's just like people are so salty over some of these because it's just like, man, and it's like, well, fucking hell. Like, remember when Bayonetta fought Dante?
Okay, that was a curb stop though.
Like
Like,
like
let's be
here's
real.
here's the thing. I was on Team Bayo because I forgot how the only reason I was on Team Bayo was because I forgot how bulky Dante is.
Oh yeah, killing Dante
And
is no easy task,
after I kind of went through some of the old games, I'm like, yeah, Bayonetta doesn't win this.
especially since he has so much raw utility, especially with like speed. Trickster, you ain't catching his ass.
Yep.
And that's just the funniest thing is,
But
granted,
here's the funny thing about that. Like, Virgil fights Sephiroth and fucking loses, and it's just like,
yeah, that's the
well,
weird one. Like that one, I'm like, I can see why, but at the same time, I'm like, that's a tough one to make a call about because most of Sephiroth's attacks, especially his big one, is an illusion.
like here's the thing about that death battle that gets me, right?
Hmm.
If it was Sephiroth versus Nello Angelo, I'd be like, yeah, Sephiroth wins that. But if it's Sephiroth versus Virgil, I don't know. I mean, yes, Sephiroth is strong and all, but are you telling me that here's the power creep.
Hmm.
Cloud and two other team members kill Sephiroth, right?
Yes.
All right. Cloud gets his ass kicked by Link.
Hmm.
And I know everyone refutes that death battle, but looking at all the stats, the fact is Link's magic is better than Cloud's magic. So just get over it. But here's the thing.
Exactly.
I don't think I don't think that Link is weaker than Virgil. Right? I'm sorry. I don't think Link is stronger than Virgil. Like,
Oh God, no! If the two of them duked it out, that'd be a quick match.
if it was Link, if it was like Link versus Virgil, I don't think he's winning that. And like, because here's the thing. Are we going with the stupid immortal Sephiroth? Are we going with the Sephiroth that's like from Kingdom Hearts 2? That's like, yeah, he's alive, but you can beat him. But like, I just don't. That death battle was just like it was just so like kind of just like
The other thing that got me was how, like, apparently Virgil couldn't deal with like the illusions that Sephiroth was doing, but
okay.
his sword literally
Here is
cuts through time and
the
space.
here is the problem with that. Even if he couldn't tell which one is real, Virgil could totally hit all of them at once.
Oh, easy. Just in the fight between him and Dante, they weren't even aiming for the raindrops. They just conveniently struck every single one around them, keeping them
They were
dry.
going that fast.
So and that's where I was talking about, where like they get combat speed mixed up with movement speed. I'm like, that's two completely different things. Because in terms of sheer running, like a good scale for representation for anyone that's, because let's be real, not a lot of people have played the older Devil May Cries.
Yeah.
Look at Devil May Cry 5 with Nero. He's able to keep up with him. His movement speed's not that high. Sure, he's faster than fuck,
I was about
but
to
he's not
say,
like like.
do you really want to say Nero can't fucking run?
Hold up, I'm getting there. But like you can still track him, but when he's in combat, that's a different story. Because obviously they're not going to burn all their speed in running or in going
Yeah.
places. But in combat, they're going to go all the fuck out. And I mean, when Nero acquired his Devil Trigger, he hauled fucking ass. He managed to get from like halfway up the staircase,
Halfway up the Clyphot to the top of it within a few seconds.
literally before as Dante and Virgil were charging. So we all know how fast they are. He slammed in between them, stopped them both.
All within all because remember, as Nero is shouting, "I'm not gonna let you to kill yourselves or whatever," and he gets his arm and then jumps. That is at the very second when when they activate SDT and start charging at each other. It's at that very moment he says that and then teleports. That tells you how fast Nero's Devil Trigger is.
Exactly. And that's one thing a lot of people don't really understand. That's why when I saw Devil Trigger, I love it. It's an amazing ability, but it is a bit of an insta win because the sheer stat increase on their already insane base
And
stats.
don't forget we have SDT to talk about now.
Oh my god, that's a Sin Devil Trigger mode is a completely different level.
Like
Like,
here's the thing. Would Virgil now lose to Sephiroth? No.
oh god, no. No, 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 no. None of them should lose to Sephiroth, except maybe Nero just due to experience,
I would
like
still
lack of
say that
experience.
Nero. Okay, here's the thing about that though. Nero's
It,
just as strong as Virgil.
you're right. The only thing that would really make it to where,
The only
but
reason Nero wouldn't win is because Nero's not as fast as Virgil. He might be as
not
strong
as,
as Virgil, but he's not as fast.
and that's where I'm saying like it would just be the speed and the fucking experience are the only two things that Nero's lacking in comparison. Other than that,
Actually, no.
like
You want to know what? If it was Nero, Lady, and Trish, yeah, Nero would totally beat Sephiroth because he's just Cloud at that point.
shit, actually, you're right. And that's the other thing is when you,
So yeah, Nero could totally beat Sephiroth because
that's the,
Advent Children Cloud totally zeroed Sephiroth himself.
you're right. I completely forgot about that.
What the fuck are we? What the fuck is even any of this power scaling anymore? Sephiroth is becoming weaker by the second.
Granted, we did dip into Devil May Cry territory, and that shit is its own power level.
Because
That is its own.
here's the thing. Like, okay, Nero. Because okay, here's the power scaling for Devil May Cry 5. So, um, Virgil is split in half and falling to shit because he separated his soul to bring out Urizen, right?
Hmm.
And Dante landed no hits on Urizen. Game happens. Nero loses his arm and has the robot arm. Nero with the arm is stronger than base Devil May Cry end of Devil May Cry 4 Dante because Dante landed no hits and Nero landed a hit on Urizen through his shield. At that point, Nero is as strong as Dante at that point. But after that, Urizen gets up and kicks the shit out of Nero, meaning that Dante isn't strong enough to beat actual Urizen. Then Dante comes down, kicks the shit out of Urizen with Sin Devil Trigger.
Yeah, it wasn't even a close fight. Like
And
the second,
then Virgil comes back. He now has an SDT because of the apple and because of V. And then Dante fights him, and Dante is still strong enough to kick the shit out of Virgil at that point, which really shows you just how much growth Dante went through. And then Nero comes in with his Devil Trigger, and he manages to not kick the shit out of it. He manages to at least beat up Virgil, not kick the shit out of him, because Virgil wasn't like, ah, fuck. He was like, oh, this is interesting. Holy shit, my kid is awesome. You know what I mean?
And that's the funniest thing, is that's where I honestly the devil triggers are a multiplier, which means Nero's base is actually
Don't
higher
don't
than
forget
Virgil's and
don't forget
Dante's.
how much he's grown. You know what I mean? I mean, if you remember the beginning of Devil May Cry 4, Nero kicks. He doesn't beat him, but he does kick the shit out of Dante.
Exactly, and that just shows like basically Devil Trigger's like Super Saiyan mode. It's a multiplier,
It's not. It is not Super Saiyan mode. It's something entirely different.
especially when you compare from Devil Trigger to Sin Devil Trigger. Because, like we said, even in Devil Trigger, Dante couldn't land a hit, but the second he got Sin Devil Trigger, oh, sweet heavenly Jesus, the tables completely swapped, and that's a massive, massive difference.
The thing that gets me is just like Dante. Virgil went through three separate power ups in this game. He became Urizen V, which powered him up because his body and soul were stronger, right? He got the
Hmm.
apple, which made him stronger as well. But you know, but also he then let me all right. So let me say that again. That's not three, it's two. So he got two power ups, right?
Yeah.
He got the Sin Devil Trigger power up from becoming V and himself again, right? And then he had the
Yes.
other power up where he ate the apple, which happened before that. You know what I mean? So that's two separate power ups, and Dante was still able to keep up with him in his Sin Devil Trigger form, meaning that at the time, Dante with Sin Devil Trigger is stronger than Virgil, and the only reason Virgil can keep up with Dante again is because he then got his Sin Devil Trigger from that.
Not to mention, Dante has been fighting his entire way to Virgil. It's not like he had time to rest and be like, oh, I'm feeling good, I'm refreshed. No, no, no. That motherfucker's been fighting the entire way up like Nero.
Here's the thing about that though. Even though Dante always has to fight his way to Virgil, Virgil is always just sitting around. He's never like doing much combat. Like you remember Devil May Cry 3 where Beowulf comes in and fucking Virgil just fucking just throws him out like the trash he is. You know what I mean?
Just kicks him right outside where he belongs.
With his own with his own fucking devil arm.
Seriously, it's
It's like
absolutely.
it's the funniest fucking thing in the world where he just swings once with the Yamato and Beowulf goes, that fucker had two sons.
Uh, yeah, like the power scaling of Devil May Cry is through the fucking roof. And that's why,
And
honestly,
and
there's
that's
very little.
yeah.
And that's where, like, they're absolutely insane. However, I would dare say there's another character outside of the obvious overpowered ones. This is a bit of a sleeper overpowered character in media. Fucking Ghost Rider.
Kirby.
No, Ghost Rider, my guy. Here's why. So think about it. Ghost Rider has has three different abilities that it
Dude,
can.
you're talking to somebody who knows like nearly everything about Ghost Rider. I understand. You're very much right.
Yeah, like
Like
people sleep on
Ghost
Ghost Rider, but it's like,
Ghost
dude, if
Rider
you
is ridiculously like high end. You know what I mean?
his only weakness is to holy, but that doesn't mean he can't combat it. For
Yeah.
God's sake, he took down Zarathos and God.
Like, can we just talk about the fact that in the Fantastic Four cartoon where Galactus is about to eat the Earth, and I'm not talking about the first time Galactus comes to Earth. I'm talking about the
I'm sorry,
second.
what?
There's a
Hmm.
Fantastic Four cartoon. I'm not talking about the first
Yeah,
time Galactus comes to Earth. I'm talking about the second time when one of his heralds betray him and poison him, and he comes to Earth and he's like the poison affects him, and in order to survive, he has to eat Earth right then and there, and like literally everyone come like the Fantastic Four come in to fight him, Thor comes in to fight, and literally they're all getting bodied, and Ghost Rider comes in. He's like, "Hear me, Galactus," and he's like, he has this look on his face, like, I've been waiting for this, you motherfucker." And it's funny because Johnny goes, "Is that fucking Ghost Rider? He's real?" And like, it's the funniest thing because he's like, I forget exactly what Ghost Rider says, and I think he's like, "Are you ready to atone for everything you've done?" And Galactus just goes, he goes, what the fuck does he say? He says something really cool. He says, demon or demon or whatever, be gone. You're not wanted here. And he fucking uses the Bennett stare on Galactus, and Galactus fucking dies.
Exactly. And
Galactus, well, he doesn't die on that spot, but he gets hit so hard that Galactus actually has to start feeding off of his own body in order to survive. It's like, can you imagine like how many people Galactus has killed, and then just getting hit by the penance stare and just being like, ah, like,
he feels the every pain that everyone he's ever wronged
and he's
all at
and he's a
once.
and he's a planet eater, so he's fucked.
Exactly.
And Ghost Rider says the coolest fucking thing ever before he leaves, and he says, "My judgment has been made. I leave you here now, Galactus, in the hands of mortals," and he just rides off. It's just like, oh, fucking, just not only did you fucking kill the guy, you dragged him.
And that's actually and that's the thing is that's actually one death battle match I hard agree with where Ghost Rider beats the shit out of Lobo
Well, no
because
shit, he beats the shit out of Lobo.
it
Because
was
because at the end of the day, Lobo's still a human being. Well, not human, but Lobo's still mortal.
you're right. But the thing is, Lobo's actually even kicked the shit out of Superman numerous times. And so when I saw that, I was like, wait a minute.
Unless
Oh
unless
God.
unless dolphins involved, unless dolphins are involved, in which case he has to be civil.
Exactly. I don't get it.
I when I was watching that death battle, I'm like, I wonder if they're gonna talk about the dolphins, and then came up the dolphins. I'm like, yeah, Lobo's weird, unnatural love for dolphins.
Exactly. And it's like the funniest thing is at the very end, they're like, yeah, Ghost Rider had like three ways just to immediately win this fight. That's why honestly, Ghost Rider, in my opinion, is hands down one of the most broken characters in the fucking game. Or in the fucking media as a whole.
Yeah,
Like, if you don't have a holy weapon, you're doing nothing more but giving his foreskin a goddamn massage.
I still say, and I still think that like you said, Ghost Rider is the shit. You know what I mean?
Oh, I fucking love Ghost Rider. And oh my god. And that's just like
Like, it's
where
it,
powers
it's just like, I urge everyone that's watching this, go out and search up the Fantastic Four cartoon. Search Ghost Rider versus Galactus. It's one of the biggest moments of somebody bodying someone that's way out of their power league ever. Because it turns out, no matter who you are, be you like a god eating super person or whatever, hell is stronger.
exactly. And that's
Or I shouldn't
honestly
say I shouldn't say hell is stronger. I should say judgment is stronger.
yeah, like and it's so funny because a lot of people don't actually know how powerful Ghost Rider truly is. Like that's why I call him a sleeper OP. No
I
one knows.
I had a moment when I was playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance with my dad on the PS2, and he switched out the team. Or I found him one day when he was playing it, and he had switched out the team for Fantastic Four, and he was leveling them up. And I'm like, "Why are you leveling up the Fantastic Four?" And it's like, "Well, I have to fight Galactus, and the only team that's ever gone up at Galactus and sort of won was the Fantastic Four." And I said, "Didn't Ghost Rider beat him once?" And he's like, "Oh yeah." And it was kind of a moment where my dad was super proud of me because, me and him, we love Marvel, we love DC, we love Star Wars.
Yeah, and that's the funniest thing is not only did Ghost Rider beat Galactus, but I think he's one of the only ones to genuinely 1v1 Galactus and put
Granted, you could say it was because Galactus was weakened from the poison,
his ass
but
in his place. Oh,
oh, you went out again.
honestly, I even think with the boy,
You went
oh,
out
I
again.
don't even think, oh, basically Ghost Rider 1v1 in Galactus
Yeah.
and putting his ass in his place.
Like, here's the
But
thing about that. You could say, yeah, he was weakened by the poison, but i- Galactus, fucking, I would think even healthy, I don't think he's gonna win that because it's like the
Oh,
most harshest, the most brutal, the most instantaneous, like, you fucking lose this fight right now.
all Ghost Rider has to do is look Galactus in the eyes, and it's not that hard. Dude's bigger than a fucking planet.
D- Hear me, Galactus. Do you fear the souls of all those you've killed? Oh yeah, I think
uh,
I think he says demon or monster, whatever you be. That's what he says.
yeah,
Which I like because it implies that that Ghost Rider isn't the first demon to come after Galactus.
exactly. And I mean, that's where I wish the Ghost Rider films were better. Like they underplayed him so fucking hard.
Well,
Like I understand Johnny Blaze.
the thing is about the Ghost Rider films is that they might be Marvel properties, but they weren't made by a they weren't made by a good studio. You know what I mean?
I still enjoyed them, except the second one. I thought the
Yeah.
second one was weirder than shit. The first one I thought was amazing.
Second one was dumb. First one was pretty cool, but I still say the biggest falling of the first movie is that you got the two Ghost Riders together, and the other Ghost Rider just fucks off, and I'm just like, what a letdown. Why would you do the cool run through the desert if he's just gonna die?
Exactly. And that's where I'm. Oh, seriously. Another thing I'm looking forward to. Oh, speaking of which, this actually came up. Apparently, there's some people out there that actually. So you know Cyberpunk 2077, right?
I was just about to talk about that. Like, I can't wait for Cyberpunk to come out, and that's all that's gonna be on Twitch, and that's all that all my fucking subscriptions are gonna be playing.
That's funny thing though. There's some people that have a physical copy as we speak,
Really?
and so you remember when Last of Us Part Two came out and everyone was getting DMCA claimed on for posting like spoilers of it and whatnot.
That was a thing?
Yeah, basically, if you streamed Last of Us Two, well, granted, so Last of Us Two, as we all know, was a dumpster fire.
Well,
All right,
look, okay. I thought that too until I watched Donkey's video, and I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe we all overreacted a bit, but still, granted, we all got mad and overreacted, but we had an avid reason to be mad because Joel did not deserve to die like that. If Joel was gonna die, he should have died. I mean, I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to do the thing that happened in Last of Us One, where the death happened super early. But I'm just still saying that they could have done it better. You know what I mean? I don't
oh
care.
yeah,
Like it sucks that Joel dies, but it makes sense that Joel would die defending Ellie. But at least fucking make it make more sense. You know what I mean?
exactly, and that's what I was getting to is the Last of Us Two. If you don't give a shit about the story, you don't give a shit about the characters, it's not a bad game. The second you do, though, it's gonna kill the entire game for you. I've got a hell. The wokest country in the fucking planet, Sweden, we're starting to give it out for free because nobody wanted it. You know
Damn.
what's bad when even Sweden didn't want it. But as I was saying, with The Last of Us Part Two, especially with the game developers lying to everyone about how the game series is gonna go, because they did a 180 on everything for The Last of Us Part Two. They said that they pointed out a game plan for 1 through 3 of Last of Us and completely fucked that shit.
Get
But
woke, go broke, right?
exactly, surprise, right? Anyway,
And
so
it's not okay. Look, a lot of The Last of Us is not the problem. You know what I mean? Like there being a lesbian relationship, Joel dying, those aren't the problems. It's how these things are presented that are the problems. You know what I mean?
exactly because
There are better ways to represent the people of that discretion, and there is a better way to show Joel dying. You know what I mean? When Joel's daughter dies in Last of Us One, it is a gut wrenching punch because it comes literally out of nowhere. Also, everyone thought the girl that Joel was carrying was the girl that was on the front of the fucking cover. So that's where it sort of comes from. But it comes out of nowhere, and it's such a real scene because everything done in it is so fucking real. And you don't get that with with Joel's death scene because you're just watching them. You're watching them kill someone. You know what I mean?
oh yeah,
You're just watching them beat the shit out of Joel with like a golf club, right?
essentially.
You lose all that gravitas because it doesn't come. It's not a tragic and horrible and gut wrenching death. It's just a brutal murder, and that's where the problem is. It's not like Joel got bit or like
Doing a last stand or anything like
Joel doing
that.
a last stand or Joel falls, or like he's falling off a bridge and Ellie's holding on to him, and Joel makes Ellie let go. It's nothing like that. It's oh, just watch Joel get brutally murdered with a golf club. I would say this, in an instance where Joel gets bit and Ellie has to shoot him, and then like after she shoots him, it says Last of Us 2, that would have solved all the problems.
Not to
Like
mention,
this game would have been fine.
not to mention the character development of what's her bucket, the roided out girl.
Oh yeah, like
Her character development was absolute garbage.
I'll say this, like going through the things and like they're trying to humanize her. I'm like, yeah, that would work in another game where Joel didn't
But
die the way he died, but it's still okay. I mean, I'm just saying, Last of Us is a good game, all things considered. It's fun. All the things connected to it are fun. The story mode kind of isn't meh, but all things considered, it is a good game. All I'm
like I
saying is
said,
that things could be executed better.
that's why I said if you like it, the actual gameplay's fun, but everything else was
This
kind of garbage in
podcast
my
is not
opinion.
going up tonight. That's for damn sure.
But as I was saying, in
I guess I
comparison,
guess I
so
guess it's going up Saturday. I guess I have to break the scheduling.
oh well.
Oh well, not a problem.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, but with Cyberpunk 2077, so CD Projekt Red, they wanted everyone to truly experience the game for the first time and not have any spoilers. That's why they did. So what they did is they at least informed everyone beforehand. Hey, we don't want you to stream this yet. At least give it like a week or so. Give it some time so people have time to actually get it and play, especially those of you that got it early. In fact, it's coming out December 9th, literally next week.
Christ.
And yeah. And so they're like,
I
can you
know, I know, I'm not going to get my hands on a pre-order copy, and I don't really it's not that I don't want to. I can't play Cyberpunk right now because I've got so much shit to edit. I got so much stuff backlogged. The D&D episodes are taking so long to edit that they're going to be on a other every other week basis because I can't, I need to upload the rest of Hyrule Warriors because that's what I'm deciding to do. You know what I mean?
hmm Oh yeah, and that's fair. And that's one of the things is they were talking about like that's why I actually pre-ordered it today when I found out, oh my god, this shit's coming out on the 9th. Holy shit. But anyway, they at least informed everyone beforehand, unlike Naughty Dog. They said, hey, we're gonna have you take it down
Like
if you post anything about it for spoilers.
here's my game plan for Cyberpunk. Once I finally get Hyrule Warriors done and I get my desk in, because my desk is coming in soon, my actual good one, and I get
hmm
my microphone and I have Zebra tell me how to stream good, I'm going to stream Cyberpunk because that's not a game I can do in parts. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like that's the main problem I've been having. Like there's a lot of games I want to do, but this episodic format, like I'm starting to see the problem with it. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like
yeah.
it's nice. It's nice to do episodic games on the side, but I really need to start streaming because I'm just not going to be able to get content out fast enough then.
Oh yeah. And I mean, like I was saying, so at least the difference between the two, and because a lot of people got pissed when Naughty Dog was DMC claiming everyone's content when they were uploading videos of it, they at least CD Projekt Red gave everyone a heads up. They at least informed everyone, hey, don't post spoilers on it. Give it some time, then you're free to do it.
Well, here's the
As for
problem. A lot of fucking games are doing that now because streaming is such an. Streaming used to not be a thing. You know what I mean? But now,
oh yeah,
if someone can just buy the game and stream it, what's the fucking point? You know what I mean?
exactly, and that's why they're at least asking everyone to hold off, or we're gonna have it be taken down. But at the very least, that's why I'm saying like they at least give everyone a heads up, and I'm hella excited for it. Like they literally went out, and that's the one thing I'm gonna give Cyberpunk so much credit for is they've actually gone and done their research, and from what I can expect, it seems like they're doing the correct way of giving everyone some form of representation within the game. They're not cramming it down your throat. They're not making it the whole baseline.
It's
The whole base.
cyberpunk. It's super easy to show anybody that representation because you're literally living in a post-apocalyptic Detroit where augs are where it's basically you have, I'm using the lingo from Deus Ex, but you have people with augs out the ass and you can modify yourself to look any way. I'm certain like that's just on the premise alone, you're gonna see everything there is in that Technicolor rainbow.
I know, and that's the other funny thing. They even got some people. They even got some, hiatans within there, and they're all in like their own special clans. Something you would expect to happen in a post-apocalyptic world where
Yeah.
everyone would kind of form their own little cliques, their own little cliques. For example, there's a group primarily of black people called, beasts. And at first, people were some of the SJWs were like
You want to know
crying
the
about it,
funniest
saying,
part about that? The
"You
people
mean?
who are offended by these things are not nearly as offended by the people they say are offended by it.
Oh yeah." And that's the one thing that made me laugh my ass off. The head director of the game is a black man, and he went out there and
Like
said it.
that's the funniest thing about that. It's like even in the most black movie ever, Black Panther, and I know that's like it kind of like is bad to say it like that, but watch Black Panther. That movie is just that movie is just what I just called it. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with it, but like who directed Black Panther actually? Before I even say this, it was a black person, wasn't it?
Let me pull it up real quick.
I might have to edit this out.
All right, let's see here. Black Panther was Ryan Coogler. He is a black man.
Okay, yeah. Anyways, like you can tell like when they were if you watch the special features of that thing and they literally presented, yo, the Africans do this cool ass thing where they do these like war chants and they're like fucking put it in, you know what I mean? And then
Oh
put
yeah,
the rap music in there when he's walking through the tower because it's not traditional anymore. It's rap and it's like, "Oh my god." But like that's the thing. It's like everyone was like oh, they're doing this because well, no, so the black guy directed it. But I'm not saying that's why that's there. All I'm saying is that it's all right for these things to be in there because they're putting it in there. You know what I mean? If
exactly. And
if like and you can see like bias like that done wrong in the Avatar movie, not Avatar, um, Pandora, Avatar: The Last Airbender, fucking
hmm
when the Fire Nation were all Indian because Shyamalan directed the movie, and it's like the Fire Nation was Japanese. Why is everyone from the Fire Nation an Indian all of a sudden? And it's like, oh, I can only assume why, because oh look, Shyamalan's Indian as well. Yeah.
exactly. And I mean, that's where it sucks with some of the bias. And it's so funny is that people get upset when a character was quote
Now
unquote whitewashed.
that's actual bias we're talking about here, not fake bias. Like there is no reason in that movie that all the Fire Nation were like it had to be Indian. The Fire Nation in the show were all Japanese. Each nation had a ethnicity to it. Earth Kingdom was Chinese. Fire Nation was um Japanese. The Air Nomads were Buddhist monks and the Water Tribe were Alaskans, or you know what I mean.
Exactly.
So in that those were like down on pat tap, and then all the other like minor nations and all the other like little towns and places they had their own cultures and stuff. You know what I mean? Like
Ex-
it's
hmm
understandable. And then all of a sudden it's like why is the Fire Nation Indian? You know what I mean? I mean it
Fire.
also it also doesn't help that that movie sucks ass, but still,
Oh yeah, it was absolutely atrocious.
yeah.
But yeah, that was the thing is like the, the people that get most upset about it have no reason to be upset about it. It doesn't affect them,
Remember
and
when
they're like,
remember when Doom came out and everyone's like, I'm not buying Doom because and it's just like fuck you weren't gonna buy Doom in the fucking first place. Piss off.
that's the funniest thing is most of them are. That's one thing I've never understood why companies pander. You're pandering to people that would never buy your product to begin with.
Like
Why?
like I remember the whole Mortally Challenge line came out and it was like, I'm not buying Doom. It's like, do you even own a PS4 or an Xbox?
Or here's another funny one, actually. Oh my god, I lost my train of thought. God damn it. Oh, fuck. What was it?
Biases,
Oh,
Doom,
Overwatch.
pandering.
So with Overwatch, it was so
Don't
funny
even at me about Overwatch. It's just like,
when they
oh boy,
released.
who's coming out of the closet this week?
Oh, not just that, but when they released, this is like a few years ago when they released a male white character by the name of Sigma. I think people were losing their shit because they're like, "Oh, of course you release another straight white male." Well,
Are you fucking
to be,
kidding me? The entire roster is either implied to be gay, is bi, or whatever the fuck have you.
Soldier
Like,
76 is implied gay with Reaper,
okay,
or
here's
not with Reaper.
with literally some guy, but here's the thing that kills me about that. I don't care if a character is gay if it makes sense for the story. The thing that pisses me off is that you're making him gay for no other reason than to get points.
Exactly. Or when you know what was also funny about Apex Legends? Apparently Pathfinder's gay. Oh yes, a fucking robot is gay. Let that one sink in.
You mean non-binary code?
Exactly.
Yes, that.
Exactly. But that's the thing is like I don't give a rat's ass what my characters, what their sexuality is or who they are, where they're from. I don't give a rat's ass. Just make it genuine. Make it so it actually fits. Don't shoehorn it in to make yourself look better.
When I run D&D and someone wants to make their character a certain way, and the first thing I ask them, like, if it's like, okay, my character's gay, my character's whatever. I'm like, okay, explain. Why is your character that way? Why is your character this way? For what reason do they pursue that? Is it just how they? Is it just how you want your character to be? Is this how they're gonna be, or is it just like you're projecting? You know what I mean? Nothing wrong with that. I'm just making sure because people have this horrible tendency in D&D to try and make themselves the center of attention with bullshit like this. You know what I mean? And I don't. I told you try not to bring. I'm gonna. That's gonna be such a weird. That's gonna be such a weird. Thanks, Isabel, in advance. It's gonna be such a weird one though. It's just like mid cough. It's just like you sound like Isabella.
Bro, but exactly though. It's like you're free to do as you that's one thing that's great about D&D. You're free to do as you
Well,
wish.
we'll talk
Just
about that after the podcast, but why that was the way it was. But the thing about D&D is like you're saying, you're free to do as you wish. You're free to make your character any way, shape, or form, so long as it makes sense. So long as it doesn't take away from the campaign, and so long as it doesn't bother the other characters. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
McCoy, I was glad McCoy fell off of D&D because he was.
Oh, I feel bad about that one.
It was no, not McCoy, but it was the other one. Like that was like we talked about
Oh,
him.
CJ?
Yeah, the one that was all furry, like literally was
No, the
looking for
furry
any.
one is McCoy.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, he's the
Okay,
furry
yeah,
fucker.
yeah.
Also a kitty fucker.
What?
Oh, you haven't heard that story?
Heard what?
Oh, the fact he went to Michigan for 4. You're welcome.
Hey, Isabel, good to see you again, and such short notice. Thank you for coming to the office late. Can't have that on YouTube, eh?
But anyway, you were saying he was overly awkward in it. Granted, that's how he is as an
Not
individual.
then. It's not he was overly awkward with it. He was just he was the way he was because he wanted to be a furry, not because he wanted to play D&D, which is why he left D&D was because like he couldn't it wasn't about the fact that he was a furry. It was more about, hey, what arc are we in? What's the crew doing? Hey, we got to keep quiet in the Underdark, you know what I mean?
Oh, is there any wolf people for me to fuck?
No. Then he he would bullshit around in the session for a bit, then just leave, and just without a word, he would totally just leave. And it's obvious when you get players like that because it's like they're trying to fulfill their fantasy, but it's like that's not what everyone else is here for.
And I mean,
FC3 is about that, but it's not about a sexual fantasy. You know what I mean?
exactly. And that's the other thing I was going to get to is you're perfectly okay to pursue your fantasies in D&D. That's the point of it. The thing is, you need to understand you're not the only one there. It's not a single player game. So you got to go at it in spurts, just like you would in real life. You wouldn't toss your friends and your family to the side completely to strive for your own goals unless you're a scummy ass person.
Yeah.
You'd go at it in increments at your own pace. In D&D, it's the same way. Don't toss everyone to the sidelines. Don't fuck everyone over if it means you get to fuck the barmaiden you've always wanted to, or become, that conglomerate multi-billionaire. If it means it throws everyone else off, sure, you might have fun, but everyone else won't have fun, and
Yeah,
don't
but
be surprised if you don't get invited back.
then you're just pulling a delta where you're ruining the party. You're ruining and sabotaging the party for your own fun.
Oh my god. Months, literal months of us putting up with that shit. Oh, that was so annoying. Honestly, though, I'll give Delta this. They've
She
calmed.
had she had her she had her cu- she had her moments where she really shone through and just like she actually stopped being a dumb shit and actually tried to play the game. Like there was that one session where it was just her and she did sneak through the Holy Knights Guild just to get information.
And that's the craziest thing to me is a lot of those people are some of the most like I wouldn't say intelligent, but are some of the most creative on how to get shit done.
Yeah.
And that's what blows my mind is like you
Literally,
had these great as
literally,
ideas.
literally, literally went. How she figured that shit out was that all the nuns and women of the habit of the Holy Knights Guild have a certain angelic sigil around them that's directive of their purity, right? The only way you get the sigil is from one of the higher mother superiors from the Holy Knights Guild. There's no other way to get this symbol. Delta did some snooping around one of the bars around town. Well, she mainly did snooping around in the Velvet Chalice
Hmm.
and wait, no, Velvet Corset. I'm sorry. Wait, was
No
it
good.
Chalice or
I think it
oh
was the
no, that's
chalice.
no,
Oh,
that's right. I changed it to the Velvet Tower now.
Jesus Christ, that's a third name change.
Yeah, it was Velvet Chalice is something from Skyrim, so
No, that's fair.
yep. Anyways, so she was there and she did some snooping around the bar and basically figured out that one of the Holy Knights' mother superiors had since retired and was working on her own church. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
She then went on this whole thing, managed to basically kill a Beelzebug all by herself. Well, using the guild members she had as well. She then, after doing this, gained the sigil, got the robes made by Floressa, and snuck the fuck in.
Exactly. And that's seriously what blows my mind. I mean, hell, you've seen how I was after I stopped being a little fuck ass.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying is a lot of the people that are little fuck asses, once they pull their heads out of their asses, of course, they're actually really good players. They have great ideas. Sure, a lot of it's hit or miss, but that's what happens with creativity. Not everything is a good idea. Sure, you could do that, but should you? Well, if you can find a way to make it work, why not? But
Yeah,
that's what blows
yeah,
my
it
mind.
doesn't help when a nat 20 rolls your way as well. Mr. Top Trimping gonna diplomacy your way out of a fucking ambush
Hey, man, I'm very persuasive.
when the dice let you be.
Essentially, yes. But that's what seriously blows my mind is a lot of these players that are like that, they just don't want to cooperate. And it's like if you cooperate, the game's so much more fun.
Oh my fuck. The podcast has been going on for almost 2.5 hours.
Your boy does gotta piss soon like a fucking racehorse.
Okay, I think we should finish up this point and end the podcast. We got 5 minutes to end the podcast.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Um, is it anything you want to end off with?
Honestly, I'd like to talk a little bit more about just these, D&D and stuff. It's like when it comes to D&D, like I'm honestly just excited to start posting content, you know what I mean? Now that I have my upload schedule all figured out, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and
I mean, granted,
like
this is going up on a Saturday and it's not going up on a Friday like it should be. But hey, that's because of I wasn't planning good and I realized I should have recorded the podcast back on Tuesday. You know what I mean?
oh yeah, and I mean, like I said, I'm never available on weekends anymore,
Yeah.
so it's mostly weekdays. Granted, that looks like it might be changing if you're willing to do it in the middle of the day. Otherwise, weekdays are going to be primarily when.
Well, yeah. I'm off weekdays anyways. But when it comes to D&D, I'm just excited and just I can't wait to start posting more stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
But that is going to be where we're going to end it, folks.
awesome.
All right. As
Great
always,
talking with
it's
you.
been. Damn it. All right, you go and then I'll go.
As usual, man, it was good talking with you. It was thanks for having me.
Of course, man.
Finally made it through completely.
Thank you for listening to our next podcast. We'll catch you next time.
Bye, bitches.
Until next week. Holy shit! I did not think we were going on for that. I did not think we were going on for that long. Holy shit!